Hey friends, my name is Jackson. I'm not your average NB, and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing a Reddit video, uh, the Month of Love special. I did this last year, and I wanted to do it again this year because it was really fun. And I just want to do a bunch of random Reddit videos, and doing these specials is a great way to do it. I kind of feel like I should put up another poll asking you guys if you prefer it if I do like multiple subreddits in one video, or if you just do like, or if you just like it when I do like one subreddit at a time. And I definitely want my next one after the March Break special to be Best of Reddit updates again. I think that's probably my favorite subreddit that I read for you guys. So, anyway, I'm going to be going through a bunch of relationship stuff, and not just from the relationship subreddit, but from like a lot of different subreddits, from like any subreddit that I want. There's relationship stuff, there's parenting stuff, there's all kinds of random posts, and I'm basically going to just be reading whatever I want, but I'm going to try and focus mainly on relationships. And this first one is actually literally from r/relationships. I, 19 male, just want my 22 male boyfriend to get his life together. I, 19 male, met my boyfriend 2 years ago and we only started dating this year. He's been a very good boyfriend. He's never once hit me, cursed at me, or yelled at me, which are three of my biggest triggers. My family loves this man and his family loves me too. We've had a lot of arguments before we finally got to the stagnant or peaceful phase of our relationship. For some background context, we're both only children, but there was a major difference between our upbringing. I've been very independent since I was young, having to learn how to cook rice at the age of 3 and starting to clean the house at 5. I've also moved out of my parents' house for just 1 year, which made me become more of an adult than I ever was. My boyfriend, however, I wouldn't say he's independent. He was given everything since he was younger, and he still lives with his parents and got charged no rent. I know this is typical for Asian families, but my Asian family is a bit whitewashed and makes me pay for rent and my phone bill. Another aspect I wanted to talk about is our grades. I've always done well in school, and sometimes I get caught lacking, but overall, I really lock down and get really good grades. He, however, I feel like lacks the essential study techniques and has poor time management. I've tried to tell him to study using active recall, but he wouldn't listen and insists on asking ChatGPT questions and writing it down on his paper and reading it over and over again. The issue arises today when he received a C on a midterm from one of his classes. Obviously, he was really concerned and rightfully upset about it. However, he suddenly told me he was going to quit his job to focus on school. The city we live in has an insane job market competition, and I've always told him that he was so lucky to work for a good company that pays $17 an hour. I only get paid 15. I knew he was feeling upset at the moment, so I told him to try and not make decisions on the spot, to not let his emotions to not let his emotions dictate his outcomes, but he was a little upset at me and became passive aggressive with me. He works roughly around 18 hours a week, and he's at university 3 to 4 times a week, just spending at least 3 to 4 hours going to his classes or waiting for me to finish mine. My boyfriend comes over to my house every weekend, and we often go out if we felt like school was too rough and we needed to go treat ourselves. So I would say him having a car is a key part of our relationship because that 20-minute drive he has to take from his house to mine is what allows us to often see each other, and we both want to spend time together often. The only reason why he works now is to pay off his car insurance and gas, which is roughly around $400 a month because we got into a car accident a few months ago. He gets paid roughly around $800 or more, depending if he works on holidays or not. Another thing to mention, he's kind of the provider in our relationship, and he takes that role seriously, and he often buys me things. I don't ever force him to buy me stuff, by the way. He just likes buying things for me because he knows I don't get paid as much as he does. Anyway, I don't know how to tell my boyfriend that I don't just want him to rely on student loans to give him money because it's not healthy for the mental health. I'm currently relying on my student loans, and it's been a killer to my mental and emotional health because my company rarely provides hours and doesn't pay me a lot. I also don't know how to tell my boyfriend that I don't think it's mature for him to quit his job, knowing it would take a very long time to find another job again. And I don't know how to tell my boyfriend that he needs to give up his current study techniques and use ones that are way more effective. I don't know how to tell him to take control of his time management because it's certainly really not the best. He has easier classes than I do, and he's taking art classes while I'm taking STEM. But I still manage to find time to study and get to my assignments. And I don't know how to tell him to stop being such a baby and let his emotions dictate the choices that he makes. He's 3 years older than me, and he doesn't know this, but I get tired of parenting him so often. Though this might be another rough patch of our relationship, and I still want to stick beside him and hold his hand through this. I just don't know how, and I don't know how much more I can take. how much more I can take all of it before I eventually burst. He also has a serious addiction to gaming, and he's always at it even during school. Please help. Um, and then someone says, he's been a very good boyfriend. He's never once hit me, cursed me, or yelled at me. Girl, you set the bar on the floor. He probably won't change. If you want something else, seek elsewhere. He's a male. It says so in the story. But anyway. It sounds like you and he aren't a good match. You were very mature, it sounds like, because you have had to be, and I'm sorry for the circumstances that required you to be an adult when you were still a child. You can offer your boyfriend your opinion on his choices, but you can't make them for him, and you don't want to be in a situation where you're with someone who regularly makes choices that you can't respect. You need someone who can match your maturity and whom you respect. A lot of dudes I know don't have their shit together until like 30. You're on the train pretty early here and he needs time to try and fail and learn and adjust, like a lot of time. You said yourself he's been very well taken care of until now. You can't expect him to be where you are yet. Auto moderator says my original comment was removed for sexism. What? So here's a gender neutral version. So you're dating someone 3 years older who has not managed to get their life together at all, and you think that they're gonna suddenly start. Maybe you should get your life together by cutting the dead weight. There's plenty of people who aren't people, child. Uh, Never hit, yelled, or cursed at you is such a low bar. I understand those are triggers for you, but those should be triggers for everybody. Honestly, you sound very mature for your age. Well, I would just based off of what is written, it may not be as true as your boyfriend. That is a large hill to climb. If you truly love him, stay open with your communication. Let them know what behaviors are bothering you and see if he understands and is willing to work through it with you. If you cannot, there is no shame in walking away. Not everyone is compatible long term. This is honestly a huge issue if they cannot work through this and they cannot understand where you are coming from. Wishing you the best on however this turns out for you. Uh, Interesting. All right, let me see here because I have a bunch of posts saved. So let's try and actually, I kind of want to see this one post. I think it's here. Hang on. Yeah, I think it's here. I, 26 female, noticed my boyfriend, 27 male, is looking through my phone while I'm sleeping. I've noticed that my boyfriend, 27 male, has been taking my phone to the bathroom with him while I'm sleeping. There's been a few times where I've woken up from a nap or the middle of the night and I can't seem to find my phone. I never really thought much of it because I tend to just throw my phone wherever when I'm in bed with him. However, the other night I remembered putting it under my pillow and when I woke up from my nap, my boyfriend was getting up to go to the bathroom. I looked around for my phone and couldn't find it. I waited for him to be done and then went to use the bathroom myself, and when I came back, my phone was magically under the pillow again. I'm not sure how to bring it up to him. I don't necessarily have a problem with him looking at my phone. I have nothing to hide, but still, it feels like an invasion of privacy to me. I know in his last relationship he was cheated on, and there's been instances where he's asked to see certain things, and I've never had a problem with reassuring him. It honestly hurts my feelings that he feels the need to look through my phone. We've been dating for around 6 months now, but have known each other for over a year now. I'm worried that it will somehow turn into a big fight, and I just want to know what he's feeling or thinking about. How do I bring this up to him? Edit. Got update. Guys, I have a password on my phone. We both know each other's passwords and felt comfortable doing so. I've only noticed it like 2 or 3 times that I've thought he's looked through my phone, but this was the first time I was able to confirm it actually happened. As for me sleeping with my phone under the pillow, just for a habit that I've had since probably high school, it's for me to hear my alarm when I wake up because I don't like it when it's blaring loud, so it's kind of quiet. All right. Send yourself a text that says, I know you're looking at my phone when I'm asleep, and then leave it under your pillow again. That actually reminds me of something I used to do, and this is kind of sad and pathetic, but it's kind of like when I created a fake fan on YouTube, like, so that people would think that someone was watching my channel, before people started actually watching my channel. Yes, that was the thing I did, and I don't want to get into it. I was 19, and I was sad and lonely, and anyway. Similar thing that I used to do when I was in middle school, I would send myself texts and pretend like I was having conversations with a friend because I didn't really have anyone to talk to or be friends with at the time. So I just would send myself texts and I would pretend that it was not like it was another person. Or send it from a friend's phone and change the contact name to Big Wiener Man 5000. He'll go straight for it. LOL, that would definitely add a nice layer of comedy to it. Or take his telephone and place it under your pillow, after you examine it. Projection, perhaps? I'm willing to bet emotional immaturity, which most people gain with age, coupled with a cheating ex. My husband had so many issues with trust when we first got together. The woman before me mentally and emotionally damaged him. There was an explosion of an argument where I told him all he has to do is ask to see my phone. I don't hide anything other than surprises. It does me no good. I'm not the troll of a woman that broke him, and we've worked forward after it finally clicked for him. Trauma is trauma. Yeah, sometimes trauma can be hard to handle, but like there are ways of handling it that are appropriate and there are ways of handling it that are not appropriate. This is a non-appropriate way of handling it and just like checking in it. You can just ask to see someone's phone, but of course then people will be like, "Well, you'll just delete texts and stuff and won't have the proof there for me." And I don't know. It just seems silly. I get that he has trust issues, but like, dude, you gotta rein it in. And if you have those issues still, maybe try getting therapy, instead of just going through people's phones. Hmm. Okay, I want to look at this. Oh, never mind. What's this? R slash best of. I'm kind of curious. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Okay, this looks like a really good one. And this is a subreddit that's similar to Best of Redditor updates. It's called Best of Redditor Sagas, and a saga is like a long story. The saga of a 23 female raising her four siblings. Okay, trigger warning: parentification, mentions of drug and alcohol abuse, teen parenting, and child neglect. Okay, so the first one was posted April 2023 to April 6th, 2023, to r/ Am I the Asshole, so almost 2 years ago now. Am I the asshole for letting my siblings call me mom? We post as I miss things out. I, 23, am three. I, 23 female, am one of five kids. I have three brothers and one little sister. My siblings are 15, 11, 9, and then a baby sibling who is a year and a half. To sum it up, I've been raising my siblings since I was maybe 10. My parents had me at 15. Uh, CPS was involved, but my parents definitely knew how to put on an act, and I was too scared to speak up in fear of losing my siblings. Yeah, I get that. Like, there's five kids. You don't want to be separated. Of course, you're not going to say anything. Like, I was lucky that when I was put in foster care, I got to stay with my sister. Anyway, until I was 18, my parents, my siblings, and I all lived under one roof. They weren't really around apart from late at night as they cared more about partying and drugs than their own kids, but when I moved out, I took the three at the time with me. It's a long story of how that I won't get into now. A few years later, my new baby sibling was also with us. Then again, long story as to why. My brother, 15, had seizures when he was a toddler and it was terrifying, but he hasn't had one in a long time up until recently. It was scary and very sudden. My boyfriend lives with us, and we both were just trying to comfort him and be there until it was over. He stopped breathing and scared the living daylights out of me. It really hit me how afraid I was of losing one of these kids. I was trying everything I could to get him to breathe again, but since it was from a seizure, I didn't know what to do. We got him to breathe and was quickly deciding the best approach. Is it an ambulance matter or is it a drive to the hospital matter? I realized I didn't know much about his medical background as to why he had seizures, as it wasn't something I thought about since I'm not their legal guardian. I don't have easy access to that stuff. I forced my parents to come to our place by threatening them. I was still with my brother when they got there. I was holding up his head in my lap and just stroking his hair to comfort him. Well, he like officially woke up instead of slightly and got a bit startled, now in the past based on only remembering me growing up. He had slipped up and said mom, but corrects himself, but this time he said mom because he was scared and because he was looking up to me, worried and concerned. This was the first seizure he ever remembers experiencing, so it was scary. My mom took this very personally. She got upset that I stole her kids and now they call me mom. She says I don't deserve the title as I didn't birth any of them. I was feeling petty because she really had the nerve to say that when her son just had a seizure and I had to practically force her to come see him. I ended up telling her how the baby calls me mama and then I refer to all four of them as my kids. She calls me a sick woman for just taking her family. I get I took them, but it was only because it was safer that way. Am I the asshole? My brother is okay, by the way. He was just seriously sick with something and it triggered a seizure. He's doing well now and is back to his normal self. And I'm going to file for custody as soon as I can. Good to know. You should take those kids away from their so called mom. OOP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I might be the asshole because I took my siblings from my parents' house without consent and let them call me mom, and this would make me the asshole because it stole her chance of being a mother. The verdict is not the asshole, of course. And then there was another post April 13th, 2023 to r/momit, which we're going to visit after this. It's been one of those days. P.S. I'm 23 and raised my siblings with my boyfriend, so I think I count in the sub. The 19-month-old threw up last night from a little bug that's been going around, so I ended up not sleeping till 3 a.m. To make it worse, my boyfriend was sleeping at his buddy's house as he's helping renovate there. At 6:30 a.m., my 9-year-old and 11-year-old decided to try to make breakfast for themselves and ended up breaking a bowl, and half our cereal was on the floor, so that had me up for the day. They started arguing over who did what and whatever. Honestly, I didn't care much until it woke up the baby, and just my luck that the baby decides they aren't going back to sleep, even if they only got 3 hours sleep and have a fever. My 15-year-old comes rushing downstairs because he thinks he has school today, and he starts yelling about us being late. He ended up not having school, but couldn't sleep as the house was loud. So now I had a moody teenager all day. Once the glass is cleaned up, the baby started crying, and the kids are getting annoyed, as I won't let them back in the kitchen to make breakfast, although I already said I will do it. But because of the baby's state, I go check on him and comfort him. My 15-year-old tries to make the little kids breakfast, but they all start arguing as they don't like that cereal. So now I have three arguing kids and a sick baby. The day isn't even over yet, and I'm already done. I've had enough of the day, and I just wish it to be over. They won't stop fighting, and I'm so close to losing it. And then the next day, 14th of April 2023, to the same subreddit r/momit. I feel bad about my post yesterday, so here's a positive one. I literally talked so bad about all of them yesterday, and I just want to say they are great kids. We are all playing outside right now. It's hot where we are, so I have the pool out. It's nice and warm out. We had a nice breakfast and actually randomly broke out into a musical, which definitely needs some work. But I wanted to share as yesterday was hard, but today feels better. Proof to show and can be better day by day. I totally get I totally get that. Definitely not a parent in the traditional sense, but I do have my stuffed animal kids, which can be a handful. Um, and then on the 17th of April, 2023, to r/emotional neglect. I feel like I'm missing out. I raise all four of my siblings, and we live together with my boyfriend in our house. It's as good as it can be, and I'm trying to get legal custody or even adopt them. My 9-year-old was upset last night, so I held him in his bed until he fell asleep, and he just whispered a little, "Thanks, Mommy." He felt safe. Sometimes moments like these made me realize I missed out on so much love growing up. At 9, I wish my mom held me and I got to say, "Thanks, Mommy." But I never got that, and I just wish I had that. Yes, I'm a mom now to these kids, but I do remember that I was a literal child when the 15-year-old was born. I wanted to be loved and comforted too. Nothing can change my childhood, but it really sucks to just never be able to receive that love from your own mother or father, but to just be emotionally neglected because they couldn't just come home without a drink on. When do they stop arguing? April 30th, 2023 to r/momit. My 15-year-old still argues with my 11 and 9-year-olds. Like, why? Posted May 1st, 2023 to r/momit. How do I deal with this? One of my kids has asthma. He's had it for as long as I can remember, but it's gotten worse these past few days. If anyone with asthma can help, at what point do I say enough is enough and take him in to get medical help, or do I wait out what he claims is a cold messing him up? Then on May the 3rd, 2023, to r/Mommet, update on my kid with asthma. We took him into the ER because it got really concerning. He was wheezing and could not catch a breath at all, so now he's still in the hospital because they want to work out the best method to help him. I've explained to them our situation and they understand. He's stable now, awake, and I was able to talk to him yesterday. While he's fighting off this virus that's causing these issues, they want to monitor him closely. Thank you for all the advice. He's gonna be okay. Uh, what's everyone's random nicknames for their kids that doesn't match their first name? Posted May the 4th, 2023 to r/Mommet. A few of my faves that I throw out are Boo, Frogs, Bobo, Sweet Faced Boy, Juju, Goldie, Grandma, Bugs, Bugsy, Diaper King, and Joe. That's just to name a few, very unrelated to their names, but they respond each time. I call my snake my little spaghetti noodle instead of Yahtzee, so I get it. May 7th, 2023 to r/Mommet. He's home! I'm assuming this is a happy post. My son is finally home after days in the hospital being medicated. The asthma is under control and he's no longer sick. We've been given a medical plan of action that we can work around for our situation. He's doing amazing now and is back to his funny self. I miss that smile so much. It's good to have everyone under one roof again. Holy shit. Like, this kid is literally a better parent. She's 23 and she's literally a better parent than most parents I know. Anyway, I feel selfish. Posted May 8th, 2023 to r/Mommet and r/emotional neglect. All quote unquote my kids are my siblings to have a tiny bit of context. My parents are awful and I raise the kids. They live in another house than us. I'm raising four and my son just got out of the hospital. Read my Emma the Asshole post if you want more info. Obviously, my mom heard about my brother/son being hospitalized as we needed to show his medical background, which I don't have access to. Well, like I posted, he got home yesterday and she shows up today like she was welcome. She goes and starts to ask my brother how he's feeling, and she decides that, oh, it's a Sunday, let me take all of my kids out to eat because I decided to care for once in my whole life. All because she's jealous that I'm in their life and present and that they call me mom. You better guess she took all four kids out and didn't even bother to ask me, her child, if I wanted to go as well. Like, yeah, just because your kid's an adult doesn't mean they stop being your kid. My mom still calls me kid every time she walks in the door. Hey, kid. Anyway, it's like she doesn't even acknowledge me as her kid, but as some random lady who's taking care of her kids. I tried to stop her from leaving because it's a school night, and frankly, why is she now caring? She's never cared about my brother's medical issues before, but now because we have some rivalry, she swoops in at the chance. She jumps at the chance to swoop in and be super mom. She argues that as their mother, she has a right to take them. The two middle kids agreed that they wanted to go. The 15-year-old was hesitant, but went anyway, and the baby doesn't really get a vote. They left so quickly, all four of them gone. As if she comes back and all of a sudden I don't matter anymore. Like all the memories mean nothing. I've been crying since they left. My boyfriend has been trying to comfort me, but it's not doing anything. They got home just under an hour ago. She got them some gifts and stuff. And the middle kids keep saying how fun it was and keep telling me how mommy took us to a fancy restaurant. We never get to go to one. They don't mean any harm, but I just wish they understood that I'm trying over here. We aren't poor, but I can't really afford to waste money on a restaurant for six people. Only once in a while. Oldest has been quiet, he knows, but he's just lost. I've put on a brave face, but he sees through it. He hugged me when he got home. But still, the way he left so easily, it just makes me feel like I've done something wrong. The baby is still the same, knows I'm Mama and that I love him and I'm gonna kiss him to sleep at night. I have him still, but for how long? My mom hates my guts, so how long will she keep showing up and making me out to be the boring lady who puts a roof over her head? And how long before the baby stops seeing me as his mom? What did I do wrong? It's clear now that I will never be who these kids want or need me to be. I'm trying, but it isn't enough. They needed a mother, and I thought I was doing a good job, but the one time she shows up and cares for them, all of my work is thrown in my face. I'm just stressed and I feel selfish, but I don't know what to do. Uh, this is more of a funnier one. Posted May 11th, 2023 to r/Mommet. 11-year-old cut her hair. For context, she has long blonde hair, so naturally picked up the nickname Rapunzel. I go in her room to get something I left in there, and I see a huge chunk of hair in the floor. Like, huge chunk. When I go and find her, I see her in the bathroom cutting her hair whilst looking in the mirror. Well, to say I was mad is an understatement. I'm not mad about her hair. Hair is hair. It grows back. Plus, it's only been cut to shoulder length. I'm just mad she cut it herself instead of asking for a haircut. When I asked this girl why she cut her own hair, her response is, Rapunzel never went to get a proper haircut. She took her nickname too seriously. I'm sure there was more reason behind it, but she just used that to try to get out of trouble. We fixed her hair, by the way, professionally. First experience raising a girl. She has taught me many things over the years, the biggest thing being expect the unexpected. And then on May 14th, 2023, posted to r/momit. Mother's Day is so complicated. I always have a weird feeling the day before Mother's Day. I'm a sister mom raising my siblings, and in past years, my boyfriend has always helped them make me a card or something for Mother's Day. This is the first year they have fully started calling me mom instead of mom and my name part time. Mother's Day is always one of those things I just never know if I will celebrate each year. As kids' minds change and stuff, I feel nervous because I have no clue what they think and how they feel. Either way, if they don't do anything tomorrow, I'm still gonna at least sneakily try to spend all day with them, even if they don't want to celebrate Mother's Day as a whole. Happy early Mother's Day to everyone on the sub! And then the next day, May 15th, 2023 to r/momit, how my Mother's Day morning went. So I got to sleep in, which shocked me. I naturally woke up at 10ish. The house seemed silent, so I just went on my phone. My boyfriend was still asleep. He woke up due to me waking up, though. Sorry, babe. Around half an hour later, I hear whispers outside my door. Elves? Crying emoji. With a bunch of question marks. But then all four kids knocked and came through my door with a $2 breakfast tray I bought 4 years ago with some bacon and eggs and toast plus the coffee on it. Trays were actually real, which took me by surprise, honestly. The coffee was good, food was amazing, 10 out of 10 service. I got one real card from the 15-year-old, and the middle two made me a card each. Or, or they made it, or they made from me. What? Apparently, my boyfriend helped the baby make me one the other day. Aw. The gift was from all of them. It was a really fancy mug that said Best Mom on it. So cute. I really appreciate the kids getting up with the baby this morning. He seems perfectly alive and well, so they did a good job. Apparently, they planned not to have him there, but he woke up mid-planning and they were committed to not having me see what they were up to. Good job, guys. This is the first year they have pulled something off without the help of my boyfriend. How, you may ask? Well, yesterday my oldest went out with his friends, which for a bit, which isn't out of the ordinary, except that was a lie, lol. The older three conspired on what to get me, and they settled on flowers in a mug. Ugh. So we went out and got that, and managed to hide it from me. He got a card, and the middle two made one this morning, apparently. With the oldest being 15, he knows how to set things up and make breakfast foods. He makes his own bacon in the morning on weekends anyway, and scrambled eggs are really easy. Also, he drinks coffee sometimes. Don't judge me. I'm not judging. It's not that big a deal. I don't give it to my kids. I'll let my kids have it, but I'm not going to judge someone for making different choices than me, as long as they're not, messing the kids up. So he's decent at it. We had a talk yesterday, and today they told me they almost weren't going to go through with this because of something on their mind. I'm so glad we spoke yesterday because I've never felt more appreciated than today. These kids did this alone, and it means so much to me. My boyfriend also surprised me that we were going out for dinner later. The kids had no clue about this, so that was exciting. We've been through a lot as a family, and I know how much it meant to all of us today. To really get across how much we love and appreciate one another, I love these kids so much. Happy Mother's Day, everyone! I hate being asked, will you have a baby of your own? Posted on May 23rd, 2023 to r/momit. I get it's a harmless question, but man, it really bugs me because I just don't know. I'm raising four kids already and have since I was a child. Well, it's been rough, and I've spent years raising kids. I'm still deciding if I want my own. Dude, you're 23. You've got plenty of time. Don't worry about it. Why do people always ask people in their early 20s, when are you going to have kids? When are you going to have kids? When are you going to have kids? They won't shut up about it. When are you going to have kids? I'm 23. Let me get done with, college and all the stuff that I want to do, and you're still practically a kid. You can't exactly make that decision. And I'm 30 and I don't even know. I might change my mind in a decade. I might not. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, my youngest sibling is a year and a half. Practically my child anyway, as I'm at the right age for it to make sense now. But does it feel different too when you have your own biological baby? Part of me wants to experience the whole raising a baby thing on my terms, as weird as it sounds, but giving birth, being able to fully be a mom to that kid, without them having any other connection to my parents, not fearing that I will lose them all the time, and just getting to raise a baby with the man I love. The other half of me feels done raising kids. I've raised these ones and I've been fulfilled in the good and messy parts of motherhood. That's all I can say on it. I just don't know. I mean, you've still got about 16 years to go with the baby, so I'd say just yeah, I like if she continues raising these kids until they turn 18, then yeah, she's got at least 16 years to go with the baby. So we're gonna just do that. Anyway, I struggle so much to do anything with other people's help. Posted May 24th, 2023 to r/vomit. Growing up doing everything alone really made me dependent on me and me only. I actually have always taken care of people, including my parents when I was little. Now, at 23, I'm really good at helping when I see someone I love in need, but I'm so bad at receiving help. I was having a bad day and my boyfriend offered to get up with the kids and just let me sleep. Now, I trust him with my life, and so I took the idea of sleep, but I woke up and he had cleaned the house and everything and made breakfast, taken the kids to school. Now he isn't their dad, so he isn't obligated to do these things. What he did was incredible, and I tried so hard to act really nice about it, but I hated being helped out. It felt unnatural. Like, why is this clean? You owe me nothing. Why have you done this for me? It feels wrong for me to not do that stuff because I'm so used to doing it. It sucks. He understood why I had the reaction I did, but I know it hurt him a bit, and I really hate that. Honestly, I used to get that too. Like, I used to get so uncomfortable when people would do stuff for me or when I had to ask for help, and I was so hesitant to ask for help. But eventually you learn that there's nothing wrong with, like, taking help from other people or asking for help if you need it. And I feel like I've become better at taking help or like asking for help if I need it. And especially with my mom because she's always so amazing, so I really love asking her for help, and yesterday I was actually cleaning my tarantula enclosures for the first time, and it was an exhausting process. Luckily, I only have to do it like every 6 months. So, anyway, I was cleaning the enclosures and I was asking her for help, and we were rushing in and out of places, and she was helping me out, and we were doing things, and I was establishing a routine, and I was like well, as I'm doing things and as I'm asking my mom for help with things, I'm like making notes in my head. Okay, do this differently next time. Empty this out first. Sweep the floor. Do this. Do that. I'm like making mental notes in my head. Like, this is what I should do. This is what I should remember for next time so that I can do it by myself next time. Because, that's not normally the thing I would ask my mom for help with. But she was actually really sweet about it. She was really awesome about it. And she really helped me out with the tarantula enclosures and cleaning all that stuff out. Obviously, she didn't help with the actual tarantulas, but once they were in their temporary bin that I just put them in, I just had a bin with a few holes poked in it that I would put them in for a few minutes, while I was washing stuff out. So it wouldn't be like cleaning the tarantulas wouldn't be just running around the bathroom. Anyway, so I put the tarantulas in the bin when I was cleaning. So I would take one out at a time, put them in their temporary bin, then I clean out the enclosure over the bathtub, then I would like put all the decorations and stuff back, and then I would put the tarantula themselves back in their home, then they would be back in the enclosure. Then I would do the same thing for the next one. And then I did that 3 times because I have three of them. And it all went really great actually. But it was an exhausting process. Seriously, it was a really, really tiring process. By the time I was done, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this again. But I'm gonna do it again in 6 months because I'd rather do it. And honestly, it maybe took me half an hour for the entire process, and it's worth it for like for having them. It just gave me so much anxiety. I'm gonna take a break. I'll be right back. And we're not even done with this post yet, but I need a break. I got. Alright, I'm back. Um, this one was posted May 27th, 2023 to r/vomit. Kids are weird. I was eating breakfast with my 11 and 9-year-old. Apparently, my 11-year-old has a crush on some boy in her school, and my 9-year-old keeps trying to get them together for some reason. Anyway, she's stressed because she wants to talk to him, but she's scared, so my 9-year-old suggests smell under his armpits when he's with you. If he smells, then he likes you because he's sweating around you. Then the 11-year-old says, I've already tried that. What? Why are we smelling boys' armpits now? Is that the new form of a love note? June 1st, 2023 to r/Momit. How would you handle your teen smoking? Now, my kids are genuinely good kids, but they are still normal. The area we live in is decent, but if you go further out, it's a bit nasty. Gangs and stupid teenagers. Apparently, I have a stupid teenager now. He's 15. Now, in general, he is such a good kid, so I know he's in it to suspect anything. Well, last night I went upstairs to say goodnight to him. I knocked and he waited like 5 seconds before saying come in. When I go in, I smell cigarettes. The smoke and the smell it gives off is familiar. He was clearly trying to hide the smell with the window open and probably smoking up by the window. I confronted him practically immediately, and he gave in with little to no hesitation. Took me about a minute to get him to confess and hand over the 4 cigarettes he had left. He went out yesterday with his friends, got back on time, but apparently he said they went out to the rougher parts of town. His friends have links or whatever, and they all managed to get a hold of a pack or two. My kid took 5 single cigarettes and wanted to try smoking. Now, considering how quick he confessed this to me, I doubt he has done this before. To top it off, he has asthma, so it was really dumb of him to even consider smoking. As calm as I could, I sat him down and went on an hour rant about smoking and why it is bad, and especially why he shouldn't do it, talking about how much it can hurt him not only through lung cancer one day, but with his asthma and medical issues. I also told him that nobody gets cool points for drinking and smoking or having screwed up lungs. It makes you look like an idiot. I seemed to get the point across. Thankfully, he had barely even managed to smoke the one he had because of my knocking. He's a smart kid, and I doubt he is going to do it again, at least not for a while. I also understand this is so normal, but I don't want him to go unpunished. He knows I'm still deciding what to do about his punishment. Any advice? June 2nd, 2023 to r/Moment. Update from my previous post. So I sat him down last night and just went over a few things. I'm not going to punish him for this time. He was honest and clearly wasn't into it. He is responsible for the consequences of his actions no matter what he does in terms of making teenage decisions. I can't control him necessarily, but I would appreciate him being open and honest with me about what he wants to do so I can educate him on the matter before he does something he regrets. I know he didn't smoke to rebel, he was curious, which is why I still trust him. Take pride in being the kid who doesn't smoke or drink if you don't. Adults respect you much more. If he does these things, it can't be in the house as we have a baby in the home and I'm not risking anyone else taking in the fumes. We watched some videos on stuff about smoking and also how lung cancer can ruin your life. So basically, me kind of saying, I can't stop you, but this is what you're putting yourself up. In conclusion, that was punishment enough, lol. My point was made. Me and him still have a good relationship. He says he won't do it again, but with teenagers, I don't know if that will stick by like 17. So I still just made my point very clear. Always come to me, but if you don't, at least remember everything you know. Thanks for all the advice. I think this was more effective than any punishment. Edit. I would like to add, he's kind of realized that his friends are heading down that path. We had a chat as well about your surroundings and people being key in this type of situation. He agrees that they want to keep heading down the wrong side of town. Now, I said you don't have to break friends with them, but if you want to stay away from that stuff, just tell them you want to hang out doing whatever you like doing. He agrees with me. He does have other friends too, many around our neighborhood who I'm sure he can become even closer to. Uh, I want to say r/uploads these daily Reddit videos, and one of them there was this incredibly disturbing story from a guy who was getting his jaw removed tomorrow because he smoked and they had to essentially basically he had been smoking and he had a 5-year-old son, and he was getting his jaw removed because they found this cancerous tumor in it that they, like, couldn't remove, so they had to remove the entire jaw, so he was gonna be not able to talk for the rest of his life, and he's gonna have a computer, and, like, they're taking off everything on the bottom, so he's not gonna half his face is literally gonna be missing. It's insane. It was super disturbing, and, like, I already told myself I've always told myself, "I'm not gonna do drugs, I'm not gonna drink, I'm not gonna smoke, I'm not gonna do that." Like, it's dangerous, and I just don't wanna get into it, and it's a dangerous road to start going down, and if you smoke, you could become addicted, and I don't necessarily blame people for their addictions always like not it's more complicated than that. And also because my son was doing drugs recently and I kind of understood that and it made me kind of change my opinion on that a little bit. I do agree people are still responsible for their decisions, but also addiction can be a tough road to go down. And like so yeah, there's some accountability for their decision for people making their own decisions, but there's also some realizing that this is a sickness and it's an addiction and they're not doing it on purpose. Like that's why the best thing to do is to never start going down that road in the first place. I also watched this really dark YouTube channel called Nick Crowley, and in one of the videos he was talking about this disturbing trend of people smoking and then people commenting on their videos like it's a fetish and like telling them to cough for the camera and stuff or smoke more cigarettes or whatever and or do whatever. And people die doing this because they're smoking a ton of cigarettes and they're doing it all on camera for their audience. And then they just die from the smoke. Like there was this one guy um who ended up smoking and he he started smoking when he was I think in his 30s or something like that, and then he aged really rapidly because of his smoking habit and how it affects your health and stuff. And then later he died of throat cancer. Like they had to basically put a tube in his throat, I think that was the thing. They had to put a tube in his throat so he could breathe properly or talk or whatever, and then he kept on smoking and he wasn't gonna quit, and then he, like, basically died from that. I don't remember 100% all the details of that, I'm saying it as I remember it, so that might not be necessarily all of it accurate with the details and stuff, but there is some pretty disturbing shit out there. I recommend just staying away from that stuff and recommending your kids to stay away from that stuff too, especially if you or them have an addictive personality, or especially if you're a parent and you've had issues with alcohol and drugs in the past, because that can also be passed on to your kids. And if you necessarily have an addictive personality with drugs and stuff, they might be more likely to have an addictive personality with drugs. So anyway, I hope the kid keeps going and doesn't keep smoking and realizes like what he's doing. And it definitely helps that you have an example to show him. Like, hey, don't do this. You might turn out like your parents and they kinda suck. Anyway, posted June 7th, 2023 to r/Mommet. We're on vacation and it's honestly such a core memory. Traveling with the kids in the past has been stressful, but this time around it has been amazing. We haven't gone away out of the country in 3 years because last vacation was just chaos. Now the oldest is 15, the middle kids are 11 and 9, and we only have one that's really little, so it's much nicer. Beach days, swimming without worrying of someone drowning, going out to dinner and it actually being enjoyable. I 10 out of 10 recommend to go on vacation with your kids when they're old enough. June 14th, 2023 to r/dad it. Hey dads, I'm a mom who needs help for what I should do about the Father's Day situation. I have no idea where else to post this, so I'm thinking a sub full of dads is my best bet. So I'm 23 and I'm raising all my siblings with the help of my boyfriend. My parents don't care enough to help us kids, so I've taken on the role and my boyfriend has joined our crazy and has been here for 2 years, but he's only moved in with us this past year, meaning he's never been here in our house for Father's Day. The kids are 1, 9, 11, and 15, but my boyfriend has ultimately stepped up to the plate without me asking and has genuinely been a father to these kids, taking my sister to a daddy-daughter dance. They taught the 15-year-old how to drive, slightly lol, coaches my brother's soccer games and roughhouses with him. He literally raises the baby with me. This year I've got him Father's Day things and had the kids make some Father's Day things, but I'm really scared I'm overstepping boundaries. I want it to be a surprise, but I'm just so unsure on if I'm doing too much or putting too much pressure on him. If you were in this situation as him, would you be happy receiving these things? Sorry if I'm not allowed on here, but I'm just needed some advice. Thank you. And then she posted June 15th, 2023 to r/dad update on the mom who needs help on Father's Day. I casually suggested to him yesterday that on Sunday we should go out and celebrate him with lunch for Father's Day. He looked so happy and started crying happy tears that we wanted to celebrate him on Father's Day. Asked me if I was serious, and obviously the answer was yes. So in conclusion, he is thrilled to celebrate. Plus, I still kept the little secret. Thank you for being so welcoming as a sub and helping me through my last post. Big love from my family, and happy Father's Day, you amazing dads. Uh, July 8th, 2023 to r/Mommet. I love watching the innocence of kids. My youngest is starting to properly talk now. Well, may I add. He's almost 2. This morning I got him breakfast outside and he said, "Share with birdies," and started waving and calling out to the birds above us and calling them down. I love him. Well, did they come? Did they share the food? I adopted my kids slash siblings finally. Posted August 28th, 2023 to r/Mommet. She did it! She actually did it! So I guess the parents' rights are basically null and void by this point, which is good because they don't deserve those children. Hmm. After raising them all their lives, I finally got to adopt them because it was a family adoption. It went like 10,000 times quicker than a regular adoption. All 4 of my siblings are legally my kids now. I'm so grateful for them. Having them all safe with me forever. It's such a relief. No more worrying about them getting taken. My parents no longer have rights over them. I'm legally allowed to have all their medical info. I'm allowed to take them to the hospital with no issues, school or whatever. I'm so happy. Dude, that's incredible. Oh my gosh. Dude, that's awesome. I remember, like, I was so freaking happy when I finally adopted my son, Rigby. Like, it took me forever. And then when I finally adopted him, oh my God, it's such an amazing feeling. September 2nd, 2023 to r/Mommet. I think I'm having contractions, but I don't think I'm pregnant. Pain is really intense and coming in waves. Uh, okay. The pain is really intense and coming in waves. I've had fluid pour out of me this morning when I was running a bath to soothe my pain. It's in my back and in my abdomen. I've never ever given birth, so I don't know. Maybe like kidney stones. But the thing is, I'm in too much pain to get myself to the hospital. My boyfriend is at work, and I haven't called him because he would just freak out. I don't look pregnant, and I've had my periods. They have been light, but still are there. But I literally don't know what this is. Mom's out there with BioKids help. Date September 2nd, 2023 to r/Mommet, so same day. I think I'm having contractions, but I don't think I'm pregnant. Update. So fuck. Little turn of events. I'm writing this quickly due to the fact I am in labor. Holy crap. Cryptic pregnancy, strong and steady contractions. Cryptic prick. Like, yeah, that, oh my God. There was a show called I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant. I feel like she could be on that. Holy shit, dude. My boyfriend got home about an hour after the post. Since then, we got to the hospital. The other kids are with a neighbor. I know he's as scared as I am, but he's been my rock, helping me through each and every contraction. I'm still scared as I can be, but I'm about to head into the water to help me. Thank you for the support. Update 2. Welcome, baby girl. I didn't. I think I'm having. Update. Hang on. Sorry. Update 2. Welcome, baby girl. Heart. I think I'm having contractions, but I don't think I'm pregnant. Posted September 3rd, 2023 to r/Mommet. After 24 hours of labor and 1 hour of pushing, we welcomed our precious baby girl into this world. Oh my God. She always thought, and she was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have kids or not. And then God was like, nah, you're gonna have kids. You're gonna have kids. Anyway, we welcomed our precious baby girl into this world. Healthy and strong, weighing in at a solid 8 pounds 9 ounces. Yes, I was pregnant, but it was a cryptic pregnancy, so I had no clue about it. So it was shocking to us all that she was so healthy and big without prenatal care. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you don't know you're pregnant, there's really not a lot you can do about it. You can like, you don't know, and suddenly you go into labor. That's so weird. Anyway, I can't, like, that's a thing that can literally happen. I gained a few pounds, but I looked pudgy, not pregnant. I never felt her kick or anything, but she's very healthy, which surprised us all. It's been a long 2 days, but I'm so grateful that she's so perfect and amazing. My other kids are just so damn excited about a newborn being in the house. I'm still in shock, but I honestly couldn't be happier with her. I want to say how grateful I am that I have my boyfriend by my side, holding my hand and giving me encouragement all throughout. I also want to give credit to everyone who had given birth out there. Man, that hurt more than I expected. We are so lucky and grateful for how smooth this all went. Hey there, Delilah. Heart. I guess the baby's name is Delilah, which is such a sweet, beautiful name for a little baby girl. I guess she has 5 kids now. She's got, yeah, 5 kids. 2 weeks postpartum with surprise baby, September 16th, 2023 to r/mom it. Baby girl is doing great. She's so healthy and very loved. Okay, so she is keeping the baby because I kind of thought maybe she would put it up for adoption. I wasn't sure how that would all go. Anyway, all the kids adore her. She fits in so well with us all. She's a very calm baby and just blends with the chaos. It's been hard though because my parents keep trying to sneak their way into our home in the middle of the night, and usually we all ignore it because if they do come in, they crash and leave in the morning to repeat the cycle. But with a newborn in the house, that just won't fly anymore. So that's that, but I'm also doing okay. Man, recovery is intense. Dude, if these parents are so much of a problem, you should just straight up get a restraining order against them. Okay. I can't afford Christmas this year, and it's breaking my heart. November 26th, 2023 to r/mom it. I recently had a surprise baby that I didn't know about. Having to pay the hospital bill plus having to make sure I have everything for her really sent me back in terms of money. Um, I'm barely able to put food on the table right now, and I still have my four sibling kids that I need to buy stuff for this year. My newborn won't even know what's going on anyway, so I'm not buying her stuff. I mean, you already bought her a ton of stuff for her because you said you bought everything you need for her. So, I mean, she has a crib, she has diapers. That's all she's gonna give a shit about. That she's fed and bathed and warm in her crib at night. That's all she's gonna care about. Anyway, we put our tree up and have made it as magical as we can in our home, but it really isn't doing us too much good. I'm on paid maternity leave and my boyfriend works, but still, it is just us getting by after the big amount of money we have had to spend recently, of course. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Of course, having a baby is gonna set you back a lot, like in terms of not just in terms of money, but yeah, in terms of money. My Uncle 4 is still believing in Santa, and my oldest is 15, so he obviously knows. And he knows money has been tight, and he's even told me to not bother getting him anything this year, because he would rather his siblings get the presents. And my three kids that are younger but are old enough to enjoy Christmas are really excited, and always talk about Santa coming. It just breaks my heart because in reality, I know that Santa probably can't come this year. I'm trying my best, but I would much rather put food on the table. I would work extra jobs, but I would have no childcare and I cannot afford daycare. I want to make this year magical, but I don't know how to break it to them all that there probably will not be any presents under the tree this year. I can't even begin to imagine their little faces on Christmas morning. Now it's worse because then they will assume they are on the naughty list, which they aren't. They've been so good. I've also been given a Christmas list by them all, and nothing on there that they want I can afford. Like for my 2-year-old, I can buy him a few small toys and he would be content. But my 9 and 11-year-old would be very uncontent with cheap toys because they are too old for that. I don't expect anyone to know what to do or anything. I just needed to let it off my chest. Edit, thank you to anyone who offered support in any shape or form. I managed to put some things together last minute and my kids had a good Christmas. I'm really happy to hear that. I just finished watching Shameless. Here's my take as someone who lives in a very similar situation. Posted January 25th, 2024 to r/shameless. If you want more context, you can look back at my other posts, but after I made my first one, I got some people telling me that my life was like the real life Shameless. I had heard about it, but didn't get around to watching it ever until recently. Dynamic between the siblings is very realistic for people who have went through what they did. Fiona and Ian remind me a lot of me and my oldest brother, who is 16 in a few months. She definitely has a parental authority over him in a way, especially earlier seasons, but they still relate to each other like siblings. I will say some of Fiona's choices really did shock me, like saying she will kick out some of the teens if they cannot afford to live there. Well, I get it. I still struggle to understand how you could be serious about kicking teenagers onto the street. And her saying she does not want to be on top of their emergency contact list. She was legally responsible for those kids, just like I am responsible for my siblings now, meaning whatever happens to them, no matter what, is my responsibility. Because although she did not sign up to raise them, she did sign up to take custody and legal guardianship of them, and her leaving Liam, a minor, behind in care of people who are not his legal guardians, therefore leaving Liam in awful situations if he ever needed to go to the hospital or anything to do with school or the law. It really made me upset at her. I enjoyed how they mentioned things about how casually these young teenagers and kids were smoking and drinking. It is a very real issue when your parents are alcoholics and do bad stuff to their body, so I really like that aspect. One last thing I will say is that I enjoy the aspect of not having much order in the house. When raising siblings, it is hard to remember that you are now responsible to make sure they are all going to bed and brushing their teeth, feeling like it isn't your place, but knowing it has to be your place for their sake. If anyone has any questions about my opinion on other aspects of the show, I am happy to answer. My teenager adores his baby sister slash niece so much, and today I found out why. I cried. Posted February 10th. Toy slash vomit. I have an almost 16-year-old and my youngest is 5 months old. Every day after school, he will come home and just pick her up and play with her for ages. He really just adores little babies, and it's so precious to see these two bond. He's also so protective over her and loves to take care of her to the point I have to remind him that he doesn't need to do any of this. But he happily would just sit there and play with her all day. Well, I naturally brought it up in conversation, and he told me why he loves taking care of her, and it made me cry. So he's my brother who I adopted, but I have been raising since I was a kid myself, and my baby is my first bio child. He says that it's like having a little me around, and that he wants her to feel as loved and cared for as I should have felt when I was a baby, too. He also said he wants to take care of me like I take care of him, and this is his way of showing how. Now, obviously, I didn't want to cry in front of him, and I told him that he doesn't need to do any of this to prove he appreciates me or to take care of me because that isn't his response. But he insisted he loves doing it. Having a sibling who you raised in a parent child manner really creates such a special bond that cannot be compared to. It's also extra strong between us because he was old enough to remember me being a kid myself. My other siblings don't remember me being a kid, but he does. What did I do to deserve this kid? Alright, that's the end of the post. Now we're gonna go into the comments. This poor girl, she and her boyfriend are really out here trying to break the cycle of abuse and neglect, one day and hug at a time, and the world is giving them no breaks. And yet, I hope their little family find nothing but love and happiness in the future. Also, I actually kind of love that she had a cryptic pregnancy. She was so clearly torn on whether to have a bio baby or not, and the universe decided for her. I'm sure being a mom of five has its challenges, but I'm so happy for her. I don't know, that feels icky, like, you're saying you're glad she got tricked into it so she couldn't make the decision for herself. It very well could have been a horrible thing that pushed her over the edge and ruined her family dynamic. As is, she wasn't able to get gifts for her children on Christmas because the unplanned pregnancy put such a strain on her finances. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but it could have been. I'm just saying I wouldn't wish an unplanned pregnancy on anyone. Well, she easily could have just put the baby up for adoption or something. Clearly, the mom is happy, and clearly, the comment was meant in it's as in hindsight, it's working out beautifully, and I'm glad you didn't need to choose, because in her case, the choosing seemed like torture. Sometimes the universe decides things for you. I'm glad this ended up being a happy outcome for OOP, considering she was struggling with it. She got to have a happy outcome without the mental struggle of trying to figure out what to do in the end. So it was a relief in the end. Yeah, I think it was the decision that was causing her the most pain, and the regret after making that decision would have eaten at her either way. Fate decided for her so that she doesn't have that mental struggle. I love Reddit Book Club. Reddit Book Club. She's 23, though. She could easily wait a decade or longer to have a bio baby. Fewer kids in the house, more resources. Sounds like it's working okay so far. I hope their situation improves. Yeah, I hope it, I mean, I hope their situation improves too. That'd be nice. Uh, that'd be that'd honestly be beautiful. Hang on, trying to figure something right now. Do 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 do. Okay. Huh. There's a lot going on here. Alright. I'm just gonna try and find something. So, hang on. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Do 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 do. Hmm. Hmm. Actually. Alright. Mm. Alright. I found something. My asexual friend said she's in love with me and it makes me sad. And this is from Best of Redditor Updates, and it's marked as concluded. I'm not OOP. The original post is by a throwaway account. Originally posted on r/true off my chest. Original post December 13th, 2024. We've been friends for 5 years, and she told me the other day that she's developed romantic feelings for me. She's still asexual, though. I had to tell her no because I can't be romantic with someone I'm not also sexually involved with. I just don't function that way. She said she completely understood, but she broke down and asked me to leave and give her some space. I don't want to lose a good friend over this, but I also can't live my life in a sexless relationship. I'm so sad right now. Uh, Edit for those confused. I know ace people sometimes still have sex. She said she never wanted it and never will, even with me. Okay, that makes sense. Uh, Relevant comments. Can I ask what would change from your current relationship with her if it became romantic? I assume there would be some level of exclusivity. OOP. Dating, cuddling, official status, and yes, exclusivity. And then someone else says, this isn't necessarily the case that it's viewed as a chore. I'm asexual and I would compare it more to taking an interest in my partner's interests. The same way I would enjoy hearing someone ramble about their favorite book even though I've never read it. I like it because I like them and like spending time with them even if it's discussing something I have no context for. OOP. I was already bummed out, but this comment made me even more depressed. The idea of the intimate act of sex with my partner compared to her tolerating an old favorite movie with me is heartbreaking. I get that it's different for everyone, but damn, that made me sad. Update January 10th, 2025. Uh, Too long didn't read of my first post. My asexual friend of 5 years expressed romantic feelings toward me a month ago. I'm not asexual and it wouldn't work out between us, so I wasn't able to return her feelings the way I'd like to. Her response was to ask for some space, and she had stopped communicating with me, and I gave her space. She reached out a few days ago, and it was a rough but inevitable conversation. After thinking about it the entire time, I realized I have to step away from my friendship with her completely. She says she still has those feelings for me, and I have them for her, and it isn't fair to either of us. We can't have each other, and we both agree it hurts too much to pretend to be happy being friends. It sucks, but I also think it's best for the sake of any future partners either of us may have. There is a difference between a friend who is female and a female friend who has had mutual romantic interest with me that I can't ignore. Hold rationale aside, there was a lot of crying and hugging. We're going to miss each other. I hate it, but this was the right decision for both of us. I'll say, as sad as this is, I have to praise OP and his friend for their maturity with this. As much as it hurts them, I hope it guides them to the people that will suit their needs and love them the way they wish to love others. Yeah, I was a little shocked. Guess these subs made me think differently than I should have. Yes, I liked how reasonable and decent OP was in the original post. The update was also reasonable and decent, both OP and his friend. It's a nice change of pace. Yeah, definitely. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. Love just isn't enough. Relationships are so much more than just love. OOP and their friend are very mature about this, I agree. Love is never enough. Relationships take a hell of a lot more effort and work than that. Agreed. That's why when people say things like relationships should just feel right, you shouldn't need to work for it. I think they must mean relationships for less than a year old or something. People grow and change through life, and it takes real continual effort to keep that bond strong. It doesn't just sustain itself unless both of you are making time to talk, plan, prioritize, and actively support each other. And that may mean compromising what you want as a person for what you both need as a unit. It can be easy at first, but anything needs maintenance to last. Yeah. Alright. Best of Reddit updates. Next story. Uh, my wife, 38 female, told me, a 39 male, that she doesn't love me and never did. How should I proceed? Original post, April 11th, 2024, and this was originally posted to r/relationship advice. I overheard my wife telling her friend that she doesn't love me and never did. She married me because she was pregnant and thought that after giving birth to our baby, she might fall in love with me, but that never happened. When her friend left, I immediately asked her about it and we had an emotional discussion. She didn't deny it. She told me the same thing she told her friend and said it's true. That's how she feels. I asked her why she married me then. She said she'd rather marry a man who doesn't love but who treats her right with respect, takes care of her and her children, than a man who loves but who was a fool, incompetent, or lazy. I was shocked and hurt. I asked her what she thinks about our marriage, and she said it's the marriage she's always wanted. To our credit, our marriage is really good. Respect is everything, so we never overstep each other's boundaries, and when we have a problem, we figure it out as a team. She never cheated, sexted, or did anything like that because she respects me too much, respects our marriage, and loves our children. Her words, not mine. She also says she knows it's the same on my part. I told her I'd like some time to think about it, and she told me to take as much time as I need, assuring me she isn't going anywhere and will accept and work on whenever I decide. I don't know what to do. I'm hurt and confused. So I've been living a dream marriage with a woman who doesn't love me one bit. Basically, she settled for me because I was the best option at the time. To her credit, she's been an amazing wife and mother to our kids, a 9-year-old boy and an 11-year-old girl. I have no doubts about her. She never cheated or hurt me in any other way. She is hardworking, always honest, and is a good role model for our children. I've been thinking of some things I could do, maybe marriage counseling, but our marriage is one-sided in the love department. I love her with all my heart, and she knows that. I don't know how marriage counseling will help because it won't change her feelings towards me. I don't want a divorce. I love her. Our marriage is amazing, and our children have parents who are really there for them, and who, if I can humbly say, are good role models. To sum it up, my part of the marriage is completely filled with love and respect, while hers is entirely based on respect alone. Uh, Hmm. Minor edit. She earns more than me, so she isn't with me for my money. We've been married for 12 years and have known each other for about 15. I would like to add something here that I answered in the comments. We started as friends, then became friends with benefits, and over time we evolved into what we are now. I was the only friends with benefits. She had many friends, but I was the only one with benefits. Her ex-boyfriend treated her very poorly, so I think that might have affected her to some extent. Update April 15th, 2024. I apologize if this post gets long. I will provide more context to our situation and do my best to get to the important things quickly. I went through most of the comments on my first post and wrote down some questions I wanted to ask my wife. I also figured I'd talk with her a few more times before bringing up marriage counseling, only if we can't find common ground or fix things ourselves. Like I said in one of my comments, I thought about small trip over the weekend, just two of us, no children. We could relax and have a proper heart-to-heart discussion. So I decided to take her to my grandparents' house. It's remote, surrounded by fields, forests, and there's even a river close by. It's pretty much a holiday house when you want to leave the city and spend some time in nature. She loves nature, so I thought it's a good place. I would be lying if I told you that I wasn't anxious and really worried about certain questions, about asking certain questions and the implications of those questions. I decided to ask, even though I was fully aware that it could be painful. We left our kids with my parents and departed. She pretty much knew the purpose of this trip from the beginning, so in a way it was easier. When we got there, I didn't want to have a discussion immediately. I wanted us to spend some time together. We went for a walk in the forest, did some light work in the garden, took some pictures, and I made her dinner. I also made her a bouquet of flowers I found in the fields. After we had dinner, I brought it up. I told her that what she'd said a few days ago had really hurt me, and that I would like her to share her feelings about me and our marriage so we can at least find middle ground. I also told her that I really didn't like her sharing that with other people before talking to me first. She apologized to me and said she would explain. Basically, her friend is having problems in her own marriage. She's been married for 2 years and wondered how our marriage is so stable. She and her husband have a dynamic of fighting with each other one day and loving each other the next. My wife and I never had a fight. We've had many disagreements, but we've never hurt each other, at least not until now. Eventually, she got to the problematic part and asked me if I heard what she said after that. I said no because I really didn't. I overheard it when I entered the house to pick up some things I needed and then left. I was also zoned out and didn't pay attention to what was going on around me after hearing that. She explained to me that she had never experienced that love with me. She thought it would get better over time, but it never did. I asked her why she didn't explain that when I asked her that day, and she responded by saying that I was emotional, and whatever she said could have made it worse. She pretty much understood that whatever she said would have come across as an attempt to make someone feel better or forced. That's why she left me alone, knowing that we would have a talk about this. She was right. I then asked her some of my questions, not all of them because most of them got answered, but I was interested in these. What does she feel when she sees me? What happens after our children grow up? Did she ever feel that love towards somebody else? What will she do if something happens to me? She said that she feels at home, so she does love me and loves our marriage, but she isn't in love with me. When she sees me, there are no butterflies or fire that make her want to jump on me and rip my clothes off. She feels at home. As for our children growing up, nothing changes. We will still care for, help, and guide them. She explained that over the years she had felt attraction towards certain men, but it quickly faded. When I asked her why, she said that even though she was initially attracted to them and they showed interest, something always fell off soon afterwards, which is why she removed herself from those situations. I asked her if she was never into me, why she slept with me and not her other friends or other guys. She had plenty of friends, and as I mentioned in my first post, I was the only one with benefits. She explained that she felt safe and comfortable with me, something she never felt with anyone else. We became a thing after she broke up with her boyfriend. She opened up about their relationship, saying that he had been physically and emotionally abusive. This was the first time she had spoken about him. I had asked her about her first relationship many times before, but she always brushed it off, saying he wasn't worth mentioning due to how horribly he treated her. She said that she wouldn't want to be anywhere else but next to me and that she would take care of our children. At that point, I really felt bad about everything, and the whole discussion made me sad. I would really like her to go to therapy. I think she still carries scars from all that abuse, especially emotionally, and a proper therapist could really help her. Too long didn't read. As some of you pointed out, she isn't in love with me, but she loves me in her own unique way. I understand that as years go by, you may lose some attraction towards your spouse, and the feelings you had once had may fade, but that person still remains. I can live with that. Relevant comments. What I'm getting out of this is that she does love you completely, but she doesn't know that it's real love. She may have been used to the kind of dramatic, tumultuous partner who abuses her and then love bombs her, and has come to know that as love. But she has chosen every day to be a loving partner and a good parent, even when presented with alternatives. Her sense of love is screwed up, but her actions speak louder to me. Definitely try and get her into therapy. I'm sorry for the way she thinks about this. It must be killing you, but I just don't think it's true. He does love you. I hope I'm right and that you can come to an agreement. I wish you both the best. OOP. I felt the same, and that is why I think it would be really beneficial for her to have a talk with a therapist. I will always be there for her, and I will always listen to what she has to say, but I lack knowledge and experience in order to help her with this. The thing that's been killing me is how long she has been in this state. She can't sort out her feelings and emotions. Even during our talk, I always felt that her feelings were misplaced and all over the place. I will talk to her, and I will encourage and support her in getting professional help. OOP on when someone said they would walk away from the situation. Like I said, I don't want to search for something I might never find. I've seen so many marriages and relationships fail because of love, with cheating and abuse being the most common, especially cheating. My wife isn't perfect, but she isn't a cheater or abuser. Our marriage is stable and safe. Our children have everything they need, stable and good parents, which is most important to me. My purpose in life is my children, and I have to suffer for their own good. I have no problem with it, but I'm not suffering. I'm doing well. There was a really lovely story about a man who came from a very abusive home who thought he didn't love his wife. They'd met in high school and he protected her and took care of her since then. They were inseparable. He would do anything to make her happy, would never hurt her in any way if he could help it, and respected her and appreciated her, but didn't think he loved her. Uh, but didn't think he loved her. He was asking for some sort of advice, like how to make it up to her or something. The comments pointed out that it did sound like he loved her, that he just didn't understand what love was, and was completely terrified of being vulnerable to her. He eventually just broke down and realized that he really, really loved her, and he cried and told her, and she knew all of it. She'd always known he didn't think he loved her, but that his actions showed that he did. He wanted to always be around her, and worked for her to be happy. She would have been content just being with him, even if he didn't know, because she loved him too, so much. This story kind of sounds like that. Like she does love him, but is terrified of being vulnerable to him, so she can't acknowledge it. I remember that post. I think people who have been severely traumatized, especially if they have experienced abuse that goes back to childhood, have a neurology attuned to many highs and lows. I experienced this for many years, and it took medication and years of therapy to both get me to understand mentally and engage emotionally with real love. Stability felt boring and confusing, and I kind of didn't know what to do with it. I craved safety more than anything, yet simultaneously kept it at arm's length, because I did not trust that feeling. The guy in that post and the woman in this one are light years ahead of where I was, because even though they might not process it as love, they still behave in a very loving manner. I believe love is an ongoing thing, a choice you make to live in a loving way. It isn't a feeling. These people treat their partners with love. Their worst crime is being out of touch with their emotions. I do hope she goes back to therapy. She goes to therapy only because she might be missing out on things by not being in touch with herself. But she sounds like a great wife and mother, and very smart in choosing a wonderful husband and father to be in her life. As they say, love is a verb. Or, as Massive Attack puts it, love is a doing word. I love that. Alright, I'm gonna take another break. Be back soon. Okay, I got a bunch more stuff to record, and I still wanna, record for like 2 more hours, so let's get going on this. OOP. Am I the asshole for not teaching a skill to my oldest son? Am I the asshole for not teaching a skill to my oldest son that I taught his siblings? Uh, I'm not OP. Original post was by someone in r slash am I the asshole. And this was on September 2019, the 9th of September 2019. This has quite literally fractured my family. I have an older son from my first marriage who's now 24. I have two younger kids from my current marriage who are 21-year-old twins. My divorce occurred right after my son was born. Over the years, my visitation has been primarily summers and holidays since my ex wife moved to a different state. I have a particular skill set that I'm very good at, and all three of my kids have expressed interest in it. Unfortunately, I've only been able to meaningfully teach it to my younger kids. This was because to make my visitation with my older son more memorable, I would do camping, vacations, etc. I didn't have time to teach him properly. Also, anything I did try to teach him was forgotten and not practiced because he lived in an apartment with his mother. The major issue is that my younger kids have started a company after high school using this skill. I provided the initial funds and as such have a 33% stake in it. This company has really soared this past year and it's making a lot of money. My older son graduated from college and is doing a job he hates and is not exactly making a lot of money, especially compared to his siblings. Part of this is my fault because he did ask to take a few years off after high school and maybe have me teach him what I knew, but my wife was battling cancer at the time and I told him I couldn't. And now I'm not well enough to teach anymore. He is now telling me to include him in this company as an equal partner, that he'll do the finances. This was not received well by his siblings, who say they do basically 95% of the work, and that he didn't struggle in the earlier years to get it running. I'm really at a loss here. I thought of just giving my share of the company to my oldest son, but it does seem unfair to his siblings who started this company in the first place. My oldest has become very bitter about this and has involved my parents. They are taking his side, and now my younger kids are resentful that their grandparents have been turned against them. Our Sunday family lunches are no longer happening, and I'm having to see my oldest for dinner on other days. And every time I see him, I'm getting accused of not treating him fairly. It kills me because I made so many compromises to have him in my life in a meaningful way. He accused me on Saturday of pushing him out of my new family and loving his siblings more. I haven't been able to sleep since. Should I have done all this differently? Edit update. The moderators have been kind enough to let me update my post. I know many people have asked about the skill set I mentioned. I just can't be specific because it'll make my younger kids identifiable with a quick search. I will say it's nothing mysterious and is a combination of woodworking, metalworking, and some masonry sometimes. It's just a niche product and not many people do it. Tools and techniques are unorthodox. I spent a lot of time reflecting yesterday after reading everyone's comments. I've talked to my younger kids and explained to them that even if they aren't happy with how their brother approached it, it's clear he feels left out from our family and it's all our responsibilities to help fix this. They agreed to extend the offer of apprenticeship again to their brother where he works and learns as a salaried employee, but they've made it clear that no ownership can be transferred after he's put in at least 3 years of work like they have. Until after he's put in at least 3 years of work like they have. I actually think this is generous because they are paying a salary that they don't need to. However, I'm not sure if my oldest will go for this. He is feeling some sort of way about working for his brothers, not with them. I reached out to a teacher in Alaska who I know casually. He might do me a favor and take on an apprentice. I need to scrounge up some money and see if I can send my son there. But again, it's Alaska, and I'm not sure if my son will be receptive. I don't know what else I can offer at this point. My wife is disgusted that we've become that family that is fighting about money. She wants to force the twins to give a stake in the company to their brother, but I really think it's a bad idea. They need to fix their conflict first, or it'll be a disaster. I don't believe we should be telling our younger kids on how to run their company. I'll be meeting my son this Friday for dinner. I hope he'll be okay with at least one of these options. I also need to talk to my parents to stop creating more issues. They've always enjoyed chaos and like pitting people against each other. It's not helping. Thanks, everyone. An update October 22nd. So 22nd. It says 22nd. Uh, 2019, I offered the two best options to my oldest, which a few days after I posted during dinner. The first option was work as a salaried employee for his brother's company for a few years while he learns the trade and then buy in for a partnership in the company. I would have sold him my share for a very fair price. This was the only way his brothers were willing for him to join the company. He rejected it immediately. The second option was an apprenticeship I set up. I set up with someone I knew and respected. Unfortunately, this was based in Alaska, and he rejected that as well, which I expected. He then said a lot of hurtful things about me and his mother. I gave in and said I would teach him. Some people did suggest this on the first post. He took all my tools and material the next few days and moved it to his garage. I've been going over to his garage workshop every day for a few hours to try and teach him. It's not going that great, I have to admit. I'm physically not in the best shape, and he's getting frustrated by it. I'm just going to keep going with this, and hopefully it'll get easier as he learns more. I appreciate everyone's input on the first post. Okay, so yeah, of course you're the asshole for not teaching him the same skill as his brothers. I kind of want to actually let's go back to the comments on. I'm gonna go see the post because I want to find out. It says no assholes here. This that's the mark on this post. I'm gonna see the comments. I'm really curious what the comments are saying. I want to see what the comments. No assholes here, with the scales kind of tipping towards your eldest on the asshole front. I get that he's bitter and feels like he missed out. The grass is always greener. Why isn't he holding his mother responsible for moving him to another state? He's not holding himself responsible for not practicing what you did teach him. I'm guessing he went to college, and the twins did not. That iniquity didn't seem to vex him. It's really an asshole move for him to involve your parents. It's possible that nothing would ever actually satisfy your eldest because what he wants is something you can't give. In my family, we call it the pound of flesh after the merchant of Venice. Pound of flesh required would be your heart. He wants the do over. He wants you to pay for his notion that he is loved less. And then Opie responds, honestly, he did not want to go to college and wanted me to teach him after high school. He always wanted to use that skill to make money, but my wife was very sick and I just couldn't. So he went with his second option, and now he brings it up every time how I turned him down back then. I really regret it, and I should have tried to work around my wife's needs at the time. What is that skill that it guarantees money and that you are the only person able to teach it? The whole mystery phrasing gets me hooked. Uh, and then a deleted comment. LOL, my exact thoughts, especially after the I have a very particular skill set bit. Sounds very Liam Neeson and Taken-esque. It could be sucking dick. It is always in demand. Yeah, but you can practice that in an apartment. I'm guessing it's something like woodwork. When I was a kid, I really wanted to do woodworking. Like, I used to talk about it, like, all the time. Like, I would be like, I want to do woodworking. It looks so cool. Like, making things and, like, making, like, the table that Yahtzee's tank is sitting on right now, by the way, my grandpa freaking made it. I'm not, my grandpa made it. He made it. And now I have it and I'm using it. It's the perfect size for Yahtzee's tank. Like the 20-gallon fits great on it. The 20-gallon fits perfect. I probably couldn't put a 40-gallon on it, but I can put the 20-gallon and it fits really well. So I'm like super happy about that. I thought I was gonna have to go to IKEA and get another coffee table because this one, the coffee table, is also the perfect size for that tank. But I didn't have to buy anything from IKEA and I got the tank on sale. Honestly, the setup was a lot cheaper than I thought it would be. Like, I literally spent less on the tank. I spent maybe one third of what I spent on like the lights, the thermometer, everything I needed to actually all that special stuff. I spent like a third of all that on the tank. I think I spent like, I don't know, 50, $60 on the tank. But I have the heat lamp. It's attached to this little thing, and then there's a red light, and the red light is supposed to go off when it reaches a certain heat. And I've never seen it go off, and me and my mom were like messing around with it a bunch and trying to figure it out. Honestly, everything's going great, and Yahtzee's been in perfect health. Like both his sheds have been amazing. His shed, the one that's sitting right by his tank right now, it came off in one piece, and then he had a second shed that also went really well. And as far as I can tell, everything is going fine. So, like, there's no issues that I can see. Just the red light is always on. I don't know. Maybe the light is just broken. Maybe it does turn off when it gets to the certain temperature, but I don't know. It's not like it gets too hot in there or anything. Yahtzee's fine. Also, it's all the way off to one side, and he can choose whatever temperature he wants to be at. Sometimes he'll be up on his rock, other times he'll be in his aspen, cooling off a little bit because the heat lamp is hot. Like, if I touch it, I would burn my hand off, so I don't I'm really careful about not touching it. And if I have to change the bulb for whatever reason, I turn it off for like 20 minutes and then I don't touch it and I leave it alone for about 20 minutes, before I take the bulb out because you don't want to burn the shit out of your hand. But yeah, when I was a kid, I really wanted to do woodworking. And in high school, I did try and do a woodworking class, but there was too much noise and smells and other shit like that, and I was really scared of using the tools after our teacher told us this story about this kid who cut his thumb off. So yeah, thanks for that, teach. But no, no, you know what? It doesn't really matter. But all things considered, I, I mean, I got what I wanted. I just didn't get to practice it. Uh, I don't know. I really wanted to take the woodworking class when I was in school, and then I just ended up, I don't know, like not doing it. Yeah, I don't know. Blah blah. Me, man, I hope we somehow get more updates one day. OOP gets suspended. Wait, he got suspended? Wait, why do so many posters, especially in Am I the Asshole, get suspended? It's so many people. And then someone says, I got banned for commenting that someone was, wait for it, an asshole. LOL, I said something innocuous too when they banned me. No loss, it's not a great place and we shouldn't be contributing to it. But these people are suspended from Reddit, the entire site, not just Am I the Asshole. What the fuck? Okay, I don't think I'm gonna ever post on Am I the Asshole again. I have Facebook groups that ask Am I the Asshole, and I have like other groups that I can post in, so I'm just gonna go do that and leave Am I the Asshole alone. I don't think I've ever posted in r/slash Am I the Asshole. I literally don't fucking understand. I do not understand like why people get banned. I don't want to get banned from Reddit. I'm scared. I got banned for repeating someone's misspelling of Tamagotchi. They are a touchy bunch over there. They Tamagotcha. I left after I got a warning for quoting an OP in a comment because apparently quoting the OP when they name call is the same as the commenter doing it, lol. I decided I didn't need the frustration of being there anymore. Yeah, I'm afraid. I'm so scared I'm gonna get banned from the entire site now if I post anything on r/slash am I the asshole. Like, if I post a comment or if I put a post or something. Oh my god. Honestly, holy fuck. It's so honest to God. Like, Reddit is so fucking toxic. I've had so many problems with so many moderators. And I literally had a problem with a moderator for something I didn't even know I was doing. And then they wouldn't tell me what I did wrong. They would just tell me to stop contacting them, or they were gonna, like, ban me or mute me or whatever. So I was like, okay, but if you don't tell me what I did wrong, then how do I know what I did so I can't not do it anymore? And they fucking muted me instead of just answering my question and telling me what I did wrong. And I don't want to do this anymore. All right, I kind of want to see what's. Oh, hey. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Someone's snake shed and it's beautiful. Oh, what a pretty snake. All right, let's see something. I'm kind of curious. Let's go to Mommet and see what's over there. I want to find out. Mommet. I'm like really curious. I want to see. We are moms mucking through the ickier parts of child raising. It may not always be pretty, fun, or awesome, but we do it. We want to be here for other moms who are going through the same experiences and offer a helping hand. Moms only. Mom, it is a subreddit for mothers, not about mothers. There are plenty of parenting subreddits open to anyone, and very few open to just mothers. Please respect an area meant for sharing only these experiences. If you are not a mother or an expectant mother, please try asking r/slash parenting, r/slash dad at r/slash ask parents, r/slash baby bumps, r/slash fence sitter. I'm assuming that's for people who are on the fence about having babies. R/slash TTC, as the case may be. What does TTC stand for? My 8-year-old son made a to-do list, and I'm cracking up. Since I can't link pictures, the transcript goes like this. Apologies for any weird mobile phone. 1. Formatting. 1. Wake up. 2. Muck about. 3. Call sister names. 4. Play Zelda. 5. Keep on mucking about. 6. Get into a fight. If not, keep playing Zelda. Catch my breath. Fight about getting ready for bed. Get ready for bed. Finish the day, aka go to sleep. Before going to sleep, call sister more names. I like that calling his sister names was so important, it's literally on his to do list twice. Yes, I must call my sister names exactly at 3 p.m. I call my sister names from 3 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. That's hilarious. Fight about getting ready for bed. Followed immediately by go to bed. I've got a future politician on my hands, apparently, lol. I hope he's able to catch his breath after all that mucking. Keep on mucking about. This is peak 8-year-old boy, and I love it. Bro, I've never heard that phrase except in like the 60s. That's hilarious. Let's see. Oh gosh. Oh shit. Okay, this title struck me right away. Tomorrow my world may fall apart. I just want tomorrow to be over. Tomorrow I have to go to the hospital with my husband to find out if he has lung cancer. He's had tests and x-rays and scans, and tomorrow we go to the consultant. Tomorrow he might get the worst news of his life. Our kids are teenagers, 15 and 17. They know he's been poorly and we had to cancel a holiday we are going on this week due to the illness and appointments. If the news is bad, how does a person, how do I hold it together and be strong for everyone? How do you not fall apart? Your job isn't to hold it together for everyone. Your job is to take everything 1 second at a time. If the outcome is cancer, then take your time to process. If that involves crying or shouting or fighting, then that's okay. That moment will pass because eventually you have to get on with it. But if grief and fear and everything else comes knocking, then don't shove it aside. You need to process. There is no way to say it will be okay because it won't, but you can take it one day at a time. My mom died from lung cancer when I was 15. Be honest with your kids. Sit them down, tell them you're here for them. Get them into therapy and pull into your community. They will need other people other than you two to talk to, and you will too. Depending on the prognosis, I highly recommend your husband write your kids letters and or record videos for them to open in special days in the future. Milestone birthdays, weddings, graduations. I'm sorry you're all going through this. I hope you get good news tomorrow. Oh, and there's a lot of comments wishing her the best, talking about how you need to just let your anger out and stuff. All right. Party favors that aren't junk. My toddler is turning another year older, and I'm out of the time window to order from Amazon or Etsy. What I'm looking for is party favors that are not junky, and by junky, I mean the cheap plastic toys that are played with once or twice and thrown away, or little slinkies, plastic rings, etc., that pile up and add to the bins of toys that get thrown away every few months. What are some good party favors that are usable and not additional clutter to take home, or favors you found useful? Bro, temporary tattoos are my go-to. Offer them real tattoos. Let's see what these kids are made of. I'm not taking that bet with my 3-year-old. He'd call my bluff. Consumables, not candy like goldfish or something. Not candy, but like goldfish or something. I come from a country where goldfish are alive, not crackers. For a minute I was horrified. I went to a wedding once that had large vases with goldfish in them as the centerpiece. For the wedding favor, each person got a goldfish. It was awful. What? Wait a second. I heard a Reddit story that was exactly like this from r slash where he was talking about where he there was a story about this woman whose friend had these goldfish, like two goldfish for each centerpiece as the wedding centerpiece, and then told them to take the goldfish home. And people don't want to take a goldfish home, obviously, because it's a fucking responsibility. And also fairs that give them out as prizes. Please fucking stop. It's a responsibility, and people just put them in a tiny bowl and they don't realize what a responsibility they're actually taking on. And then there's all the stress of like being around people all day and all that wedding chaos. And R slash's friend and the woman's friend brought all this up in the story, and like the woman was basically like, I don't give a fuck. I'm putting goldfish as the centerpiece. Shut the fuck up. She didn't say that, but I'm just saying like that's basically what it was. And so obviously, so the woman's friend ended up taking home all these goldfish because people don't want to take home a goldfish. And also, what if there's dead fish? And the woman was just like, "Oh, you can take care of those as my maid of honor or whatever." I don't know. It was fucking stupid, and it's animal cruelty or whatever. I don't know. It's a bunch of bullshit, and that's like so messed up that someone would do that. Not just someone, but two someones, apparently. Like, more than one person has decided to do this. I mean, unless it's the woman from the story that r slash read, which I I don't know how possible that is. Maybe it might happen. I don't know. That's wild. Animal cruelty aside, what the fuck are you supposed to do heading home drunk late at night with a baggie of fish? Just leave it in the bag until 9 a.m. when you can go to the pet store? That's true. What the fuck do you do when you, like, if you're going home late in an Uber, are they even going to accept the fish, first of all? Even if you click on Pet Uber, they can still say no to your animal if they don't like it. Like, if they saw me with the fucking snake, they could deny the ride if they wanted to. So, if I know I'm going to an expo and I know I'm getting a live animal, usually I try and work it out with my mom. Like, with my mom, I worked it out. So basically, I didn't even like I went in my mom didn't buy a ticket, and in the May Expo when I was there, basically I went right I took I did take like maybe 5 minutes to look around at a couple booths, but I was like super quick. And I basically went in there, I got the snake and I got out because I just I was just there to get my snake. This wasn't like a looking around, enjoying myself kind of expo. It was an expo to go get my pet snake. And my mom didn't want to waste several hours on a Saturday, because it already takes forever to get all the way to Toronto and then back from Toronto and also get Cape, which I wanted to do, which we did do. So anyway, yeah, I had my snake like that, but I did just rush in, get my snake and get out. Mm. My daughter's school did a fall festival the year before last. One of the games had a prize of live fucking goldfish. The fall festival was mostly inside the school. This particular game was places in a narrow side hallway that dead ends. So you had no clue what the game or prizes were until you were actively playing. My daughter won a bag that happened to house two goldfish. Both were dead within an hour of us getting home, thankfully for us, but not so thankfully for my daughter and the fish. Tons of parents complain because who the fuck gives a second grader a live animal as a prize? And they don't eat. That doesn't even open the door to the fact that they were spontaneously giving live animals to unsuspecting families who, most of us, didn't even own a damn fish tank. There were no live animal prizes at the fall festival this past year. Lessons were learned. At least they didn't fucking do it again, because that's annoying as hell. Like, I firmly believe people shouldn't be giving live creatures unless the person is like completely prepared for this animal. Like, not just saying, oh, I want like a tarantula or whatever sometime in the near future, but if they get the setup and stuff. Like, basically, what I did was I got the whole setup first. I got everything ready, and then when I was ready, when I picked out my snake and everything, and I literally put a $20 deposit down, had the snake on hold to pick up next month at the expo. I go to my mom and I'm like, "Hey, mom, listen, the snake's gonna be about $100. Would you pay for it, please?" That's what I did. I asked her if she could pay for my snake for me, and she did. She totally paid. Well, I paid because I was there with my card, and then she paid me back. But basically, yeah, I was like totally ready for the snake. Like I had the setup, I had everything ready. I had him picked out. Like I didn't just I didn't just go into it and I wasn't just like to my mom one day, "Hey, I want a snake sometime in the future." And then like a few months later on Christmas or whatever, few minutes later on Christmas, few months later on Christmas or whatever. Sorry, got distracted. A few months later on Christmas or whatever, she was just like, here's a fucking snake that you have no way of taking care of or no tank to put it in. Here you go. Like, no, you don't fucking do that. Do not do that, especially with children and people who have no fucking idea how to care for the animal. Like, I did so much fucking research. Like, the last 2 years I spent prepping for my snake. It was spent getting all the equipment together and getting everything set up and saving money and doing fucking research. You need to do research on any animal before you bring it home. I don't fucking care what it is. Even when I got my baby tarantula home, I accidentally put it on the wrong substrate. And luckily, my mom realized immediately and was like, you need to switch that shit out. Because she Googled it immediately because she thought it didn't look right, that it looked like a problem. And luckily, she saw it and was like, yeah, you need to change that substrate. So we changed the substrate and I put some actual better substrate in there. Because even I, who'd been doing the research for months, didn't didn't know fucking everything about tarantulas, and I trusted the reptile store near me to like give me the correct information. So I always do my own research now, regardless of, I don't just trust the reptile store for random things anymore. I'm not just like, well, I'm gonna trust the reptile store with any questions I have because, they can always give me wrong information. Like, even experienced people can have or give wrong information. You never know. You gotta go to like a bunch of different sources. That's why you gotta go to a bunch of different sources and do as much research as you can before getting any animal. Because, like, even with my tarantula, I could screw up. I could screw up and they could die. And they did die. Two of my babies died. Like, the older ones that I had, Curly Fry, Jalapeno, Persephone, they were fine. They're all totally fine. Like, I cleaned out their enclosures yesterday and they were perfect. They were wonderful. Jalapeno's been really enjoying digging, and I kind of destroyed Curly Fry's webbing, but I had to because I had to clean it out because I had to get all that crap out of there with the dead crickets and stuff like that. And I was just like, okay, well, you know what? This sucks. I'm sorry I have to destroy this, but I gotta clean out the cages, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, when I cleaned out Yahtzee's cage too, I destroyed his like tunnel system, so and then I put new Aspen in, and now he's made a new tunnel system in the 2 months since he's had his first substrate, so I'm really, really happy about that. I think that's cool. Okay. Anyway, I think we're gonna move on to the next thing because I'm kind of just going off on a tangent, but I always go off on a tangent. And honestly, if I didn't go off on a tangent, it probably wouldn't be a Jackson video. So let's just r/single parents. I so I want to see about. All right, this subreddit is r/single parents. Trouble getting the kids to sleep. I've always had trouble getting my kids to sleep. I found this YouTube channel called 6666 Meditation, and I started playing meditation and lullaby music in the evening times after dinner. It seems like the calming music relaxes them, and they are in bed by 8 p.m. every night. Before I started playing the music, they'd stay up till 10, 11 p.m. Playing video games or watching TV. Why didn't I think of this sooner? Hey man, at least you found something that works. I'd be wanting to put mine in a sleeper hold and make their asses go to sleep. And OP replies with a crying or laughing emoji. Yeah, honestly, um, I, me and my sister also used to drift off to sleep with classical music on. And then when I was in foster care and when I was a teenager, and then when I was in foster care, and then when I was back home after foster care, I would always put on music on my headphones at night. And then after, once I went to New Path, they didn't allow phones, so I actually had to learn how to sleep without music, which was annoying because I love having music on at night. And after that, I've never gone back to having music on at night while I'm sleeping. I always put my music off at night because I can't sleep when there's music on. Plus, I set my alarms to certain songs that I like because I hate like it's annoying as hell. I hate that alarm, so I just don't do that. I just set it for something else. Single parent, no emotional supports. I often feel sad at night when the kids are asleep. I have nobody to share how my day went, or just that emotional support for big events such as buying a house. Currently feeling extra drained, stressed, and not having the emotional support is making me feel really sad, and I don't really have close family who really care about me. Not really. Is there anyone else who feels the same? Did anyone who bought a new house as a single parent feel the same? How'd you deal with it? Is this normal to feel such sadness even after 5+ years and feeling empty and so lonely all the time? So I'm a solo parent. My ex had a psychotic break 10 years ago, and we haven't heard from him since I divorced him. There's times my kids do something that I really wish the old him could see. Mostly I feel alone in the day-to-day stuff. I can't tap out if my kids are being difficult. All the good things I share with my parents and best friend forever. I feel like it would be so much more amazing with a partner because I never in a million years saw myself raising kids alone. Man, there's so much shit going on. Alright. I'm actually gonna. Alright, I'm gonna find out what posts I've saved because I want to find. I know I had some stuff in there. Funchy Moment. What is that? Something popped up on my page, on my front page. Want to eat a hamburger with Twilight? Yes, please. Is this mold growing in my bathroom sink? I have no idea, is it? It's pretty cool looking, and I'm getting emotionally attached to it. So if it's not harmful to my health, I would like to keep it. I have mold in my rented home. What are my rights? Oh my god, that's hilarious. Right underneath the post, this person, um, this person had an ad for mold removal, struggling with damp and mold. I have mold in my rented home. What are my rights? Uh, okay. If you're an employer, you have the power to save lives. The Screening Time Off program encourages employees to take time to step out for screenings. What? Uh-oh. Why does it say uh-oh? Okay. Uh, Avowed calmly walk through the forest. Avowed is a video game, I think. Is it mold? I'm not sure if mine is telling me it's safe or to get away, but calmly. It's what happens when you live with the mold. You get taken into the world where Avowed takes place. I think I might have a problem. When you get diagnosed with cancer, you may look at things differently. People are just showing like things that are popping up on their screen right under this post, and it's fucking hilarious. Uh, is this? I'm the proud owner of this disaster. I spent 4 hours deep cleaning the kitchen, and this is what it looks like not even 2 days later without me constantly cleaning up after my husband. Uh, does this person have mold or not? Stop showing. Ugh, bro. Stop showing me pictures of things that are popping up on people's screens. I want to know if this person has mold. Yes or no? Okay, people are just posting pictures, pictures, and more pictures. Okay, yes, and it seems it's formed a spike defense. Might want to be careful with that one. If it gets too strong, it might crawl out. Bro has a whole ecosystem growing in there. Stranger Things intro music begins. Was gonna comment that it looks like an entrance to the Upside Down. I don't know what that means. Splinter the movie. What? Okay. Hey yo, maintenance guy. That's not dangerous mold. If anything, it's an advanced case of mildew. Buy a pipe cleaner that's large enough. Mix a cup or two of bleach into a glass of hot water. Use the pipe cleaner to clean the pipe out, then pour the hot water down the drain slowly. Do it a few times. Upvote for being the only helpful person in this thread. Seriously, I don't mind the jokes, but when it's all a race to see who's funnier with no helpful comments, it's just annoying. It's Discord, kids. That's why all the posts you see top voted in your subs are just photo gifs and small thumbnails. That's how they do on Discord. Reddit is further sliding into I don't know what. You seem very cognizant of these things for someone who's above that shit. I use Discord occasionally to find PUGs on video games I play, not to socialize because my parents can't find things for me to do. For real, oh my god. I had to scroll past 100 pictures of the same ad. I don't give a fuck if it's an ad. Now I too want to know if it's mold to get to an actual answer. I commend you, maintenance guy. Had to scroll way too far to find this comment, LMAO. Good advice. What would count as dangerous mold? Well, let me just state that I am not a mycologist, which is someone who studies mushrooms, I believe. And I'm too lazy to Google right now, but the dangerous molds that you hear about only grow on porous surfaces. We're talking wood, drywall, potting soil. So the thing is, it's literally only an issue once the mold has hit a certain level of volume. Any mold in the world could mess you up. Dudes who work on mushroom farm facilities wear breath masks. So if a mold was dangerous, what you would want to consider is what it's growing on. I only say this because mildew looks a lot like black mold. Hundreds of molds do, but if you see something that looks like that you think is black mold, but it's on the top of your PTAC, where condensation happens in the summer, that's mildew, but if it's on your drywall, then you should be worried. Mm. And then the auto moderator says, I see you use the term black mold. Thousands of species of mold appear black, actually dark green. The one that is usually singled out in this made up category is Stachybotrys chartarum. The whole black mold thing is the result of several irresponsible people who are drumming up fears about mold and then profiting off of those fears. Don't believe the hype. Color of a mold has no correlation to how dangerous it may be. This is frequently stated by agencies throughout the world, including the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. The statue, that thing, and other molds may cause health symptoms that are non-specific. It is not necessary to determine what type of mold you may have growing in your home or other building. All molds should be treated the same with respect to potential health risks and removal. As a result, we have not found supportive evidence for serious illness due to this mold exposure in the contemporary environment. There's no evidence that otherwise healthy. Okay, it goes on about mold. Don't be a coward. Taste it. R slash eat it, you coward. R slash eat it, you fucking coward. Wait, is that a thing? Oh my god, are you kidding? No, this is so cute. There's someone has a cat and their white paw is between two Oreo cookies, and it says his paws will be ate. No, although that looks like a most stuffed Oreo, which is my favorite kind. Second favorite kind. Favorite kind would be chocolate Oreos. 1 million dead mosquitoes from satisfying as fuck. What the hell? That's a giant pile of mosquitoes. What's wrong with my fish? Oh gosh. There's all these like growths on it. Uh, Lymphocytis or walleye dermal sarcoma caused by viral infection can lead to more infection, not fatal to the fish, and does not infect humans. Still wouldn't eat it. Get that Hopi's fish away from me. Ah, the old hope fish. Yo, the old hook fish done tricked me again. Won't trick me again, not even with those fishy lips. You like putting fish sticks in your mouth? You're a gay fish. I'm not a gay fish. Yeah. If you know, you know. Uh, Free guacamole. Oh God, no. That's not guacamole. That's ew. Uh, some kind of squirting green stuff that looks like that's I don't even know what it is. Anyway, it's disgusting. Whoa. Okay. R slash eat it, you coward. For all those influencers making shitty recipes but don't have the balls to eat it. Bro, that's hilarious. People do make crazy recipes and then, like, not fucking eat it. Like, oh my god, just, like, why do people make these crazy recipes and waste a ton of food and then not even eat it? It's just. Anyway, doesn't matter. R slash name nerds. What terms of endearment did your parents call you, or do you call your children, and what's the story behind it? Wasn't sure about the flair. I don't mean AJ for Andrew Jacob. I mean ladybug, noodle, cutie, whatever cute little terms have been used in your families. My mom used to call my sister Peanut. My dad called me Mugs because apparently I'd been mean mugging since I was a baby lol. My resting bitch face is strong. He rarely called me by my actual name all my life. My dad called me Bumps from the time I was a baby up until the day he died. His last words to me before he passed was, I love you, Bumps. See you tomorrow. Aw, and someone's crying about it. That is wonderful. Sorry for your loss. What a sweet memory. Aw, I know. Okayest mom 48. I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Okayest mom. We need to put that on a mug. Okayest mom. Oh man. Alright. Questions. Should I feel bad for not buying my little siblings and mom food? So I'm a 13-year-old female. You're 13? Jeez. What? Are you kidding? You're 13 and you're wondering if you're a piece of shit for not buying. You don't owe your family food. So I'm a 13-year-old female and my mom currently isn't working and hasn't been for like 4-ish years. What the fuck? Because she's a stay-at-home mom and watches my two little brothers, 3 and 4, and my little sister, who's 2, and my stepdad isn't the nicest man, and my mom and stepdad aren't a good couple at all. All they do is argue and stuff, and my mom always has to ask him for money, but sometimes he doesn't have it, so she asks me for money now. At first, I didn't have a problem with it, but the other day I started having some mixed feelings, more than usual, because I bought some cookies for all of them, and I asked for one, and then another, and then one last third one. And when I asked for a third cookie, she continued to call me selfish and say, What are we gonna have? And there was like 12 cookies, so I didn't think it would be a problem, and I bought them. So then I said, Never mind, and she still tried to give me the cookie. She she ended up giving me the third cookie, but I felt bad eating it. The past 3 years, I've been feeling bad eating in this household because I want there to be enough food for the babies. And if I don't eat, there will be more food, and I just buy my own food. And I keep asking my dad for money for food, and I don't like my mom to know when I have money because she always asks for some. And then I went out, and I don't want to be selfish, but I'm hungry too. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think? If anyone is confused, don't hesitate to ask questions. I'm confused about why the hell you don't use any punctuation in your long paragraph. It's a run-on sentence. It's basically one giant run-on sentence slash paragraph. You need to use punctuation. You need to use periods. No, you do not need to feel bad. You were a child and not responsible for feeding your family. That is down to your parents slash stepfather. If you feel like your siblings aren't being fed enough, then by all means buy something cheap and basic to see them through, not snacks or treats, things like bread. If there is frequently a lack of food in the house, then consider speaking with a trusted adult, such as a pastor, school teacher, counselor, or family member, such as an aunt or uncle. You really shouldn't be dealing with this alone, and I'm so sorry you're being made to feel this way. Hope things improve for you soon. And then OP says, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate this." And I just realized what what their uh their profile picture is. It's a cat that's been photoshopped to look like an alien, which is freaking adorable. Doot 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 doot. Wow, a bunch of people posted about Tamagotchis. She posts a lot in r slash teenagers. R slash Build-A-Bear. Is that Snoopy? Cool. Oh. Interesting. Do you think self-diagnostic autistics are valid? Why or why not? Yes, for one thing, they're statistically pretty likely to be correct. For another thing, there are actual problems I can think of in my life, and somebody being incorrect about being autistic isn't one of them. Alright. Yeah, it's yeah, I basically exactly what the first commenter said. They're not responsible for feeding their damn family. Also, they're 13, and why are they buying things? Why are they having to buy their own food at 13? Their family needs to fucking take care of them and their siblings. Hmm, you died. How cooked are you? You are reincarnated as the character in your icon or profile picture. How does it feel? Wait, what is my profile picture? Oh, it's just a, it's just me with like a hat and a basketball and stuff. Okay. Dream reptile you'll never have. Uh, honestly, mine is the Mesoamericus bilobatus. Their coloration is absolutely beautiful. They're not in the pet trade, and honestly, I hope they won't be. As we know, the pet trade is no good when it comes to wild catching animals, but man, they are beautiful. And then there's a picture of what I assume is the lizard they're talking about. Okay, dream reptile I will never have. Gonna say probably something like a tortoise or a tegu or something because I don't think I'm ever going to be in the life position where I can have something like that. Tegus are gigantic. They require gigantic tanks. They require a ton of care. They require like all kinds of stuff that I just don't have the money or space or time to give. Same with tortoises. Also, you can't have a tortoise in an apartment. I would need like a house, and I doubt I'm ever going to get that. Like, I'll be lucky if I get that, but I don't think that I'm ever just going to get a house. I could be wrong. There's always the chance that something will happen. Like, there's always the chance that things are going to happen and it's going to like, there's always the chance that things could happen in my writing career or something and things could change and get better and then I could eventually get a house. I don't know, but from what I know now and how my life is going right now, pretty sure whatever subsidized housing arrangement I get, that's where I'm gonna be for my life. For at least most of my life. Well, at least, I don't know, my next 50 years or however much longer I live for. I don't know. I could die in a year, I could die in like 60 years. I do not know. I don't know. I'm 30. I'm pretty young, but I feel like whatever subsidized housing thing I get, that's just where I'm going to be living. basically until I die. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna say reptiles like that. I'm trying to think of other ones too, but honestly, crested gecko I can probably get. Blue tongue skink I can probably get. Bearded dragon I can probably get. Honestly, I don't know. Um, I don't know. I'm thinking about a lot of common snakes and lizards and things that I would love to have as a pet, and they seem pretty manageable and doable, like with whatever subsidized housing apartment I get. And just so you guys know, I'm in a part of I'm in a part of the world where I'm in like an area where they can't say no to pets. Like they can have a no pets clause in the lease or whatever, but basically it doesn't count. So I don't need to look for like a no I don't need to look for a pet friendly apartment because they're all pet friendly apartments because pet no pet clauses are not valid where I live. I hope that never changes, but until I have to worry about that, which will hopefully be never, I can have pets and no one can say anything about it. And yes, I know I had a little bit of a problem with my last apartment because of my tarantulas, but I'm not gonna be telling anyone. I'm not gonna be saying anything to anyone that I have them. Like, not, and if they ask, I'm just gonna lie. If they ask what pets I have, I'm gonna just say, "Eh, heck, I have my snake. He's basically it." And then I'm just gonna like leave it be. But I don't know. I feel like they're never going to find out anyway, and it's not going to matter anyway. But I just don't want a lot of issues. I don't know. I feel like a fucking idiot for telling my landlord now because I never should have said anything in the first place. I should have just kept my mouth shut and let him fix whatever he came to fix. Anyway, I'm gonna see what I've got saved because I know I had a bunch of posts saved. Okay, I have. Alright. Am I the asshole for letting my daughter have her own bedroom? And this has been marked as not the asshole. My husband and I have three kids, a 14-year-old male, a 13-year-old female, and a 10 male. We used to live in a two-bedroom house where all the kids stayed in the same room and shared the same bathroom. Yikes. There were many arguments about bedroom and bed and bathroom space, especially amongst the two oldest. We have just purchased our first home, and the home has three bedrooms. As my middle child is the only girl, I thought it would be more appropriate for her to have her own room and bathroom away from the boys. So I gave her the sole bedroom slash bathroom and the boys share a room. However, my oldest son has been moping about it ever since we moved in. He believes since he is the oldest, he should have his own room. I told him it is better for him and his brother to be in one room, but he is still complaining about having to share my room with the little kid and not having his own space. My oldest has started barging in on my daughter's bathroom when he has his own with his little brother. I told him to stay out of his sister's bathroom, but he got upset saying he doesn't have a damn thing to himself. I grounded him for cussing at me. My husband later on went and talked with my son, and now thinks maybe our son is right and he should have his own room as the oldest. No. No. Not the asshole. A 13-year-old girl shouldn't be sharing a room with her brother if it's possible not to. The 10-year-old is a little kid now, but in a couple of years he's also going to be going through puberty. The boys should share, regardless of who's older. I can't believe so many people are questioning why they didn't buy a house with more bedrooms, or why the parents don't give up their room for the kids. There are some seriously privileged people with no sense of how the real world works in this thread. Kids share rooms all the time with their siblings. It's normal. It might not be ideal. They'll survive. It'll make their college years a lot easier because they'll be used to sharing. Yeah, that'd be amazing. And honestly, I was so happy to get my own room because when my sister and I got out of our abusive situation, she was born a male. She's a male to female trans, and she was 11 and I was 15 when we were put in foster care. So when my foster mom offered me my own room, I immediately took her up on that offer because I wanted to get away from my sister. Not because I didn't love her, I fucking loved her, but I'm a grown girl going through puberty. I'm a teenager going through puberty, and she's she was a child, so this made more sense. Plus, I wanted my own room and my own space and her to, stay away from my things. And it was better that way, honestly. And maybe she doesn't feel that way. Maybe that's why she suddenly decided to hate me, but I'm happy with it. And if it's the reason why our relationship is ruined, and if it's the reason why she decided she hates me, well, then it's up to her to learn to get over that because it was the right thing for me to have my own bedroom. Apparently not. In a comment, OP said they chose the house mostly on location, with a side of thinking it wouldn't be a big deal for the boys to share. I would have imagined as well. To be fair, location can mean a few different things that could very well be a huge deal to them. Maybe they want to avoid living in a sketchy neighborhood, or maybe they don't want to switch schools. That would certainly limit the choices. Yeah, definitely. Um, and I also just, um, sorry, I forget what. Damn it! Why don't I remember what the comment said? Yeah. Something about um, blah blah. Um, location. When me and my sister were looking for a place, we specifically didn't choose an apartment. We looked at an apartment that wasn't in a real sketchy neighborhood, and we both decided we didn't want to live in there. And when my sister said it, my mom didn't seem to take it seriously. She was just like, she probably in her head she was going, I don't really care. I just want these kids out of my house. But, when I said it, she took it more seriously and was like, oh, okay. Which kind of pissed me off because she should have listened to my sister. But honestly, I felt like it was important to back up my sister at that point. Uh, and this next one is from r/beyond the bump. My kids hate each other and it's heartbreaking. I have 4 kids. My stepdaughters are 12 and 11. I have a 6-year-old bio son and an almost 3-year-old bio daughter. I honestly assume the hatred from the oldest two initially was because they have a lot of siblings on their mom's side. But then they started actually getting along with my son, and I'm like, okay, awesome. But then I had their little sister. They don't give a single F about her. They ignore her. They make false promises of spending a minute or two with her and then bail. If she's anywhere near them, including my son, by the way, not just the oldest two, it's nasty looks and shoving her away, or being downright cruel to her, or being just downright cruel to her. She's at an age now that she's noticing too. Sister don't yike me, Baba don't yike me is a constant statement from her, and it breaks my heart for her, because all she wants is their attention and they refuse to give her a single second of their time. Things have always been fair, so it's not about her getting more attention or being liked more or being the favorite. We make sure they all know they're equally loved and spend equal time with them. But for some reason they just hate her and they don't have to say it because it's obvious in their actions and how they treat her. I've talked to the three of them multiple times about this because I don't think it's fair to her and they need to understand that she's not dumb. And she knows they're being cruel and mean, but nothing changes. I don't want her to grow up being hated by them and being the odd one out in every situation. I mean, damn, she's 2 years old. She hasn't done a single thing wrong to be treated like garbage. Every talk leads to promises and apologies, but within minutes it's back to being hateful toward her. I'm worried they're always going to be like this. They play just fine together and love hanging out with each other, but her? Nope. It's OMG, get away from me, you're annoying, or I don't want you near me, oh my god. Which I get she can be annoying at her age, but it's just deeper than that. The looks of pure hatred sometimes is intense. I can't force them to love her, I know that. But I also would love to understand why they hate her so much. I've asked and I just get shrugs. They have nothing to be jealous of, so it's not that. I just don't know. I feel like I failed her somewhere and I can't fix it. I know she gets pretty sick and tired of being stuck with just mom and dad. I'd love to be like, yeah, baby, go upstairs and play with your brother and sisters, but I also don't trust them with her as much as they are mean to her. She didn't do anything to deserve it. I'm so frustrated that I can't just wave a magic wand and fix it. Ugh. I am so sorry. This sounds heartbreaking, and I feel so sad for you and your baby. No toddler deserves to be treated like that. The only thing I can think of that might make sense off the bat is that the older sisters, who you mentioned are your stepkids, feel resentful for her because she's your biological daughter and their little brother is just copying them without understanding. But that's a lot of assumption on my part. Where's your husband in all this? What does he say? Is his relationship with your stepdaughters damaged in some way? Where is their mother? Could she be saying hateful things about your child to the stepdaughters? I have so many questions. My husband has tried with them as well, and it just doesn't work. His relationship with them isn't the best. Their mom is a piece of work. Honestly. She kept them from him for a long time and told them he was dead, so when they finally got to come around again, I showed up in the picture, and I know their mom hates me too, so there's a lot of words being said about me and their dad that no child should have to hear. That's a crazy trauma for a child to experience. Thinking their dad was dead and then learning he actually isn't. Have they ever been in therapy? Based off of that, do you think it's possible she's saying nasty things about your daughter to them as well? She seems very manipulative and does not value healthy relationships between her daughters and their dad, or between you two as a couple, so would it make sense to suspect she may be planting resentment in your daughters? I disagree with everyone in these comments saying this is normal behavior for tweens. You and your husband might want to talk to your mother. Oh, definitely. She has even told them that their brother isn't their brother because he's a half sibling, which literally every other sibling at their mom's house is a half sibling too. So, like, I don't know. She was fine with me until I got pregnant with my son, and then it's been nonstop talking crap on me and my husband to the girl since. And sadly, I don't think their mother would listen. She doesn't have that problem there. They're obsessed with their sister over there who's close to the same age. So she wouldn't understand or care. She's the type of person that if it isn't about her, she doesn't give a shit or want to fix anything. Reading this makes me think that this is something the mother has planted. This is so very sad. Therapy is definitely in order, but knowing they have another sister similar to yours tells me the mother is manipulating them by telling them her daughter is their real sister and that yours is only half, and basically drilling in their head that they ought to love her daughter and not yours. I've seen this firsthand. I think talking to them and asking them if they think loving your daughter will make it seem like they don't care for their mom's daughter. This may be the fear. I will also add that your husband should be in the trenches with you regarding his ex. If you feel she is damaging your kids and her own with her behavior, he should be fielding an equal amount of fallout and mitigating their exposure to her. I don't know. This is almost sounding like a situation where you need to protect your children from this woman, if she can't be civil. I hesitate to say that because there's so much I don't know, but that behavior is abhorrent, and my heart is hurting for your baby. I would also add this to the main post, OP. Alright. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. Oh wow, are they in therapy? It sounds like some major issues they need to unpack that is beyond Reddit's pay grade. This isn't forcing a sibling to like each other. These girls need help. Maybe revisit the court order and sue for parental alienation as well, because from what you're saying, it may be necessary. The oldest won't talk in therapy at all. We've hoped to get them both moved in with us once the youngest little lady turns 12 here soon. Just not sure their mom will make it easy. Alright, I need a break. Be back.